Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto get predator power from cave and make everyone's slave? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content, and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the 666 Black Panther for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story. Link in the description. Rasengan. The attacks of the two combatants meet at the center of a large waterfall, causing an implosion of power and destructive force. The only witnesses to the epic battle were the combatants themselves and the statures of the valley. "We're almost home," Team Naruto said. Sasuke was too tired to speak. They arrived at the gates, seeing a group of shinobi and villagers alike. Naruto put Sasuke down gently and saw Sakura. He was about to greet her when she pushed him out of the way. "I told you to bring him back. Not nearly kill him." "But Sakura-chan, I don't want to hear it," she screamed. "We have to get Sasuke-kun to the hospital." Naruto just sighed as Sakura and a few shinobi carried Sasuke off to the hospital, and was about to get up when a rock hit the side of his head. "You demon! You hurt the Uchiha, demon brat! We should have killed you years ago." The villagers started to hurl insults and rocks at Naruto, who decided to get up and run out of the gates. Unfortunately, the villagers gave chase, and surprisingly some were even able to keep up at least for a while, throwing rocks, kunais and whatever else they could throw. Naruto ran and ran. He didn't look back, nor did he slow down even when he could no longer hear the villagers. He just kept running till the adrenaline and his stamina finally gave out. He stopped by a river and took a drink before dunking his head in. He sat there for moments, but it seemed like forever, especially with what just happened still running through his head. After bringing Sasuke back, after everything he's done, everything for the village, to prove he wasn't Kyuubi, this is what happens. He gets run out of town just because Sasuke was covered in his blood. He was the one that took a Chidori through the chest. All to keep his promise to Sakura. "Sakura," he whispered, "I'm not going back." Naruto got up and explored the area he'd run into and noticed a cave which was mostly covered by a boulder. A well-placed Rasengan took care of that, and he decided to walk in and explore it. As he got deeper, he noticed a skeleton on the floor with a full-face mask/helmet which had a large forehead and chest armor, but the lower ribs looked like they were ripped out or something busted through it. He pulled off the helmet and dropped it in shock. Whatever the creature was, it wasn't human, but then again he'd recently seen a human with 6 arms and another that could use his bone as weapons, so who's to say that this crab-faced thing wasn't human? Naruto continued to explore the cave, never noticing the shadow that silently followed him. As he got deeper, he noticed that the walls started changing from natural rock formations to metal with grids and glyphs on them, as well as something hard and smooth that was neither metal nor rock in patterns that looked like bones. "What's this?" Naruto ran his hand over a bump on the wall, and it lit up, causing a loud hissing sound and a door to open in front of him. There was another loud hiss from behind, and Naruto spun around in time to see a shadow with a long barbed tail jump towards him. "What the he?" It's been just over 3 years since the day Naruto was run out of the village, and things weren't going well for the village hidden in the leaves. Just about a year and a half ago, IWA allied itself with Kiri, Kasa and Oto with the sole intention of destroying Konoha and its allies. When word first got out about what appeared to Naruto, Wave and Snow threatened to cut all ties and trade with Konoha unless Naruto returned and that those responsible were punished. Tsunade did not need any more motivation but was overruled by the council and the elders, whom did not bother about threats from lesser countries. It was only a year later when Sabaku no Gaara became the Godame Kazekage and threatened to end its alliance, and the rumors and scattered information of the possible alliance with Konoha's enemies that the council finally relented, and the guilty villagers were finally punished. Many were heavily fined and or jailed. It turned out there were a few shinobi too who were either demoted or removed from the shinobi ranks, and the ringleaders were fined and sentenced to lengthy prison sentences. It was little comfort though for those that cared for Naruto, like the Konoha 11 as they were called, especially a certain Hyuga and Sannin apprentice. Sakura walked through the corridor on the way to the Hokage's office. She'd let her hair grow out since and tied it up in 9 ponytails. She never forgot the day Naruto left. Flashback no jutsu. Sakura paced outside the room that Tsunade was checking on. Sasuke quickly blurted out, "Is Sasuke-kun okay?" Tsunade's expression grew cold as she spoke. "I could not find any serious or life-threatening injuries, but he was covered in blood." "It's not his blood, and I have a damn good idea whose it is." Tsunade walked off, not caring about the look of confusion on her face. Hokage's office. Kakashi, Sakura, Ino, Tenten, Guy, Hinata, Kurenai, Gaara, Kankuro, Temari, Shikamaru and Kiba were gathered in the Hokage's office. I thank all of you for coming. Tsunade started. About an hour ago, Sasuke Uchiha was brought back by Naruto Uzumaki after attempting to leave the village to join Orochimaru. He is currently unconscious and under surveillance by a squad of ANBU. He is currently stable as he did not have any serious injuries, but I heard he was covered in blood. Ino asked. We checked him. The blood wasn't his, it was Naruto's. All the girls gasped. Pakin and I found more of Naruto's blood at the Valley of the End where we believe the fight took place. But if Naruto-kun was hurt that badly, how did he make it back? Hinata asked. By all accounts any normal person would be dead. Everyone but Kakashi and Tsunade's eyes widened. What I am about to tell you is an S-class secret which the Jounins and older generation know, but under the laws of the Sandaime Hokage, none of the younger generation were to be told about it under penalty of death. The Yondaime did not kill the Kyuubi 12 years ago. No human can kill a demon, instead he sealed it in a newborn baby, Naruto. All of the Konoha genin except Shikamaru gasped at the revaluation. You don't seem all that surprised, Shikamaru. Kakashi noted. Shino and I guessed as much. Having pieced together the clues like the dislike of the villagers, the names, his birth date, the beatings, Jinchuriki, power of human sacrifice are vessels and jailers of the Biju, and are pretty much treated the same universality. Either with hatred and loathing or are made into weapons. Kakashi explained. Like me? Everyone turned to Gaara. We are viewed as nothing more than weapons and treat as such either with fear or hate. That was why when I first met Naruto I was surprised he wasn't like I was. All the Konoha nin shuddered thinking about Naruto being a bloodthirst killer like Gaara was. We grew up in pretty much the exact same circumstances, but he made friends and decided to acknowledge his existence by becoming Hokage instead of ending others' existence. He would protect them, even those that scorned him. Everyone was left with their own thoughts about the blonde, most reevaluating what they thought of him. An ANBU suddenly appeared in the middle of the office. Hokage-sama. About 30 minutes ago, after Sasuke Uchiha was taken to the hospital, a mob was formed by some villagers and they ran Naruto Uzumaki out of the village. What? Why am I being told about this now? I'm sorry, Hokage-sama. Most of the ANBU were preoccupied. Have those involved arrested? Hi. The ANBU disappeared in a cloud. The rest of you. Kakashi, Ino, Tenten, will be on one team. Kurenai, Hinata and Kiba on another. Can I count on you three? Tsunade asked the Sand siblings who nodded. Guy, you're with them. Find Naruto. Go! The teams ran out of the office. What about us, Tsunade-sama? The two of you will stay here and watch Sasuke and the other genin. Tsunade was about to walk out the door but stopped without turning around. That is what you would want, isn't it, Sakura? She walked out the door, not giving Sakura a chance to reply. Flashback Kai. Naruto. Sakura whispered as she clutched the papers she was carrying. She carried on walking to the Hokage's office and entered and noticed the Jounin team leaders of the Konoha 11. I'm sorry. It's okay, Sakura. We're almost done. Take a seat. Sakura nodded and did as instructed. As I was saying, our scouts have reported that the two enemy camps at the border of Fire Country are totally empty, and they do not seem to have been abandoned. What do you mean, Hokage-sama? Asuma asked. There are signs of fighting at the camps, but not as much as you would expect from wiping out a camp of hundreds of trained shinobi. Other than a few knocked over tents, loose kunai, shurikens, and a relatively small amount of blood, there are hardly any clues as to what happened. It's almost as if everyone in that camp just vanished. This is most troubling. What are your orders, Hokage-sama? I want Team Asuma to head to the camp east of Konoha and Team Kurenai to the west. See if you can find any clues as to what happened. The rest of you will be on standby till further notice. Dismissed. The Jounins got up to leave, nodding to Sakura. Konoha Gate. Izumo and Kotetsu were on guard duty as usual. Sigh, this is so boring. Izumo sighed. Well, we could always ask the Hokage for a tougher job or mission, you know. Forget it. Hey guys. The duo looked over and noticed another Chunin with red hair tied in a ponytail and his head tied in a bandana, walking up to them. Yo, Kenji. Kotetsu greeted. Anything interesting happened today? You're joking, right, Kenji? Izumo answered. Hardly anything ever happens in Konoha. Well, you should still be on alert. We are at war, you know. Kenji cautioned. Their conversation was interrupted by a loud scream for help, and the sound of distressed footsteps running towards them. The three Chunin turned to see three IWA nin running towards them. What the hell? Izumo looked confused before the three of them seizing them just as they passed the gate. Please help us. You have to take us away from here. What's going on here? The Chunin and IWA shinobi turned to Team Asuma standing a few meters away from them with Asuma in front of Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. The three Chunin brought the captured IWA nin towards the team while Kenji answered. We were talking when these three ran towards the gate. We caught them but they were hysterical. What are you three doing here? We were trying to get away from. From what? Him. The nin pointed to the gate where a figure in a dark brown cloak landed. His voice sounded like he was facing the Shinigami himself. The figure stood up and walked towards the gathered ninja, his armored boots crashing the stones under them, a dagger attached to either leg. He on black shinobi pants with a pouch strapped to his right thigh and two round metal cylinders on his left. Over a chainmail shirt, his chest was covered in battle-scarred gunmetal gray armor, his shoulder guards and arms covered by his cloak which bore the whirlpool symbol encircled by an elongated lizard-like creature with a crest on its head, biting its tail. The mask he worn was shadowed by his hood, but you could clearly see that the mask, like the chest armor, had been through many battles, though some marks looked intentional, like a glyph made up of two strokes, forming a stylized T on the forehead and a pair of 3 scratch marks on either cheek. Who are you and what do you want? Asuma asked as the Chunin moved the captured nin behind him and his team. I am a predator, a hunter if you will, and those three, he pointed to the captured IWA nin, are my prey. Are you a hunter nin or a bounty hunter maybe? We're willing to compensate you for these nin. Asuma offered. I have no interest in money. Then I'm afraid we'll have to ask you to leave. We need any information that these nin might have and we outnumber you. HN. The predator smirked behind his mask and snapped his fingers. Loud rushing sounds were heard from the trees outside the gates, followed quickly by loud clawing sounds scaling the outer walls. 6 human-shaped figures appeared on top of the walls in crouching/squatting positions. They had elongated, cylindrical skulls but possessed no visible eyes and had segmented, blade-tipped tails. The tails have a flat ridge of spines at the base of the blade. They crawled down the wall halfway before leaping down around the predator. What the hell are those things? Ino asked, the fear obvious on her face. 4 of them with 4 dorsal tubes on their backs stood up on their hind legs, warriors, ready to strike, while the other 2, which had digitigrade hind legs and lacked the dorsal tubes of the others, runners, remained crouched, ready to strike. They have a skeletal appearance, and were colored in muted shades of blackish bronze. Though they did not have eyes, the looks the creatures were giving the gathered ninja were enough to let them know that the creatures knew they were there. One of the runners spotted one of the IWA shinobi, and snarled at him, causing him to wet himself much to disgust of the leaf Chunin holding him. Give us our prey and we will leave. I had no intention of stepping foot in this village again for a long time. What did he mean again? Shikamaru thought. Asuma swallowed the lump in his throat that formed at seeing the strange creatures. I don't think so. We are at war with the country these shinobi are from and we have questions for them. I know of your war, and it is none of my concern, though those shinobi made good practice and stock. Asuma's cigarette fell out of his mouth when he realized what the stranger was implying. You were the one that wiped out those camps? Me and my angels. Before Asuma could say anything, 3 ANBU appeared. Bear stepped forward. The Hokage has ordered that these ninja be arrested and taken for interrogation. You can either take a bounty offered to you or we will arrest you as well. Before the predator answer, one of the IWA nin pushed Izumo out of the way, grabbing a kunai and charged the predator. The predator snapped his head towards the charging nin and 3 red dots in the form of a triangle flashed to life on his helmet. His shoulder plasma cluster sprung up through a specially made hole in his cloak and after a quick charge released a bright blue bolt which completely destroyed the ninja's head, shocking all present. TCH. What a waste. As I was saying, give us what's left of our prey. I will not ask again. I don't think so. Bear drew his sword along with his teammates Tiger and Falcon. Asuma drew his trench knives and the rest of his team got ready. The ANBU rushed forward and clashed with 3 warriors while the rest rushed the Chunin. For a moment neither one moved a muscle, then the ANBU and Asuma ran towards the hunter and angels which met them halfway. Choji and Shikamaru got in front of Ino. Ninja art, mind transfer jutsu. Ino's body fell limp as one of the runners stood frozen to its spot. Oh! She suddenly woke up screaming in terror. Ino! Shikamaru kneed down and grabbed her shoulders, trying to calm her down. Ino, calm down. What's wrong? So dark, so cold, so. Easy, Ino. The runner ran towards the trio ready to kill. Super expansion jutsu. Mega palm thrust. Choji quickly grew and crashed the runner to the ground but started to scream in pain, returned to normal size and started to rub his hands on the ground to try and dull the pain. Choji, what happened? Shikamaru reluctantly left Ino against the side of a building to check on Choji. He checked Choji's hands and noticed they were burnt and looked to the remains of the crashed runner, and noticed the slight hissing and bubbling from the blood. Be careful. Their blood is highly acidic. He warned, but it was too late as Falcon was able to slash the other runner, and was unable to get out of the way off the spray which burnt her torso, arms and parts of her legs. Shit! Shikamaru cursed, and quickly sent his shadow towards the warrior which decided to change target from Asuma to the downed Falcon. He sighed when his shadow made it in time. Shikamaru turned the captured warrior towards Bear and made it tackle one of the other two warriors attacking him. The two warriors seemed to be talking to each other in high-pitched screeches and hisses before the captured warrior took a swipe at the other's head. Being unable to use the full capabilities of the captured warrior, it was quickly killed and torn apart. Shikamaru noticed that they had no qualms about killing another one of their kind and their bodies were immune to the acid. Tiger disappeared as the warrior landed where he stood earlier. Earth style, inner decapitation jutsu. The warrior screamed as it was pulled underground. It was much harder to pull it down than a human, but eventually it was pulled under till only its head was left above ground. Tiger reappeared behind the trapped warrior and cut its head in half. Asuma jumped back to avoid a tail strike and threw one of his trench knives. It moved enough to avoid the blade, but Asuma had channeled his chakra through the knife, sharpening, lengthening and widening it enough to cut the arm off the warrior, distracting it from avoiding the second knife through its head, silencing it. The last warrior and Bear clashed into each other. Bear used his left arm to push the warrior's head away just as its tongue shot out, and stabbed it in the center of its chest with his sword. The warrior released a high-pitched scream before stabbing Bear through the back of his thigh with its tail before it fell dead on the ground as the ANBU withdrew his melting sword and dropped it as he fell to his knees, removing his melting right arm guard and cradled his arm. Humph. You guys are as strong as I thought, though I really did not expect that I would have to do this. The hunter sliced his palm with a kunai and quickly ran through the hand seals and slammed his palm on the ground, summoning jutsu, Angels of the Apocalypse. Out of the smoke 10 more warriors stepped forward and snarled at the gathered ninja. Oh crap. As if the first few weren't troublesome enough. I say again, give us our prey and we will leave. Just then Team Kakashi, which consisted of Kakashi Hatake, Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha, appeared. What the hell's going on here? Ino? Sakura asked and ran to check on her petrified friend. Sakura, get over here. I need you to heal Choji. Sakura quickly ran over to Choji and after a quick check started to heal him, while Shikamaru went to check on Ino and protect her if necessary. What's going on here, Asuma? Kakashi asked as he surveyed the scene. 3 IWA Nin ran into the village earlier and were caught by 3 Chunin in the area. Apparently they were running away from him. He motioned to the predator, and his summons, he calls them angels. He claims to be the one that wiped out those enemy camps, but for some reason he won't give up those Nin, no matter what. How strong is he? Honestly, no idea except for shooting something from his shoulder which completely blew off that poor sap's head. He's left all the fighting to his summons. Hell, he hasn't even moved from his spot. Kakashi nodded. You 3 guard the prisoners. The 3 Chunin nodded and closed in their ranks. Asuma threw a pair of kunais with explosive tags to try and take down the warriors, but they scattered as the tags exploded. One ran towards Sakura and Choji, but Sasuke got in between them. Fire style. Great Fireball Jutsu. The warrior tried to dodge the fireball, but the fireball grew too large for it to dodge, causing it to be burned to death. Just as Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief, he was tackled to the ground from behind by 2 warriors and the tongue of one of them was driven into the ground just an inch from his head. I wouldn't move if I were you. The hunter warned as the tongue was slowly retracted. I'm willing to bet that their tongues are faster than you and spilling their blood over you is ill-advised. Damn. How did they get behind me? Sasuke thought, trying to find a way out of his predicament. Sasuke! Sakura ran forward but stopped when one of the warriors squeezed Sasuke's head with its hand. Tiger jumped in front of Bear and Asuma jumped in front of Falcon. One warrior ran towards Kakashi while the other spilt up between the other 2 pairs. Tiger ducked under the claws of the first warrior and with an upward stroke, took its left arm off and just barely managed to avoid the tail strike aimed for his head. He used his slightly smoking sword to block the tongue strike by the other warrior only to get its tongue cut off for its attempt. The warrior screamed as its blood flowed heavily from its mouth. Tiger was about to finish the job off but had to jump back and avoid the spray of blood as it turned its head. It fell on its back dead, courtesy of a katana through the chest by Bear. Fire style. Burning ash pile. Asuma released a cloud of ash which caught the two charging warriors who screamed in pain, but one of them managed to roll out of the cloud before Asuma ignited the cloud, killing the one caught in the blast. Kakashi, don't! Asuma yelled when he noticed Kakashi drawing a kunai and diagonally slashed across a warrior's chest, neck and face. The blood sprayed out of the wound and burned his left arm. Kakashi hissed and threw his kunai into the side of the injured warrior's head, but it was not enough to kill it. The warrior pulled the kunai out of its head and charged Kakashi. Kakashi threw 3 shuriken which were dodged. He tried to draw a kunai with his left hand but was unable to. He lifted up his hitai, revealing his Sharingan. Kakashi! Tiger threw his katana to Kakashi, who grabbed it, and in one fluid motion take a few quick slash at the injured warrior, and the one that escaped the ash cloud and jumped out of the way towards the predator before the warriors fell to pieces on the ground. The hunter used his kunai to block the sword strike and jumped out of the way of a kick and threw his kunai at Kakashi. Kage kunai jutsu. A log replaced Kakashi at the last moment as a dozen kunai were about to hit him. A pair of jagged blades extended from his right gauntlet about a foot before extending another foot, and swung down towards Kakashi, who blocked with his sword, but it broke from the force of the blow. Kakashi blocked out the pain and blazed through some hand seals. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. The fireball cleared, revealing nothing but scorched earth. Where is he? Kakashi thought as approached the spot where his opponent stood earlier. Just as he reached the spot, 2 eyes flashed yellow, and before Kakashi could react he was hit by a right hook to the face and 3 more to the body before he was stabbed in his right thigh by the hunter's left wrist blades. Kakashi fell to his knees and felt a hand grabbed his neck as the predator decloaked in front of him and leaned towards Kakashi's ear and spoke just loud enough for the two of them to hear. Normally, I might have had a harder time fighting you, but not in your current condition, and I'd have that checked. He motioned to Kakashi's arm. As soon as possible, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi felt his heart stop for a moment. Naruto, normally, I might have had a harder time fighting you, but not in your current condition, and I'd have that checked as soon as possible, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto? The hunter dropped the shocked Kakashi on his back, and with a snap of his fingers a few drones ran out of their hiding places, knocking down the Chunins in surprise, and grabbed the 2 surviving IWA Nin before disappearing in a cloud of smoke, and the bodies of the dead drones burst into flames. I'll be taking my leave now. The hunter's shadow rose and wrapped around him like a cocoon before sinking back into the ground and vanishing. What in the world? Hokage's office. The bandaged and healed Team Asuma and Kakashi gathered in the Hokage's office waiting for Team Guy and Kurenai to arrive. Sakura was sitting next to a shivering Ino who was still a little unnerved, having entered the runner's mind. Hokage-sama, you wanted to see us? We were about to leave. Kurenai entered the office along with her team, followed closely by Team Guy. Your current mission along with Team Asuma's is put on hold as we've received new information. Tsunade processed to inform everyone of the details of the fight that had taken place earlier and the predator's supposed involvement in the enemy camps. We have to find out who this predator is. The Hokage thought out loud. It's Naruto. Kakashi deadpanned, almost not believing what he just said himself. He called me Kakashi-sensei. Everyone stared at Kakashi as if he was insane. Sigh troublesome. I believe it is Naruto, given what Kakashi-sensei has said and given some of the other clues like the scratch marks on the mask that look a lot like Naruto's whisker marks, and the fact that he indicted that he has been in this village before. Also during his fight with Kakashi-sensei I noticed he had blonde hair. There is no other logical conclusion but to believe that that predator is Naruto Uzumaki. No one could believe that the man that some of them saw earlier was Naruto, and that he was supposed to be responsible for wiping out 2 large enemy camps. If it was Naruto, was he helping them since he did wipe out enemy camps, but why would he attack them? Konoha, then, do you think he will attack our village? Choji asked. He has no reason not to. Guy nodded grimly. It was this village that shunned and abused him and eventually threw him out for things that were out of his control. Here is your mission, and it is an S-rank mission. All the ninjas snapped to attention. Team Guy, Team Asuma and Team Kurenai are to seek out this hunter and determine his intentions, and if it is Naruto, and see if you can persuade him to return. What about us, Hokage-sama? Sakura asked. I think it's best that you 3 stay here. What? But Kakashi is one of the best trackers around, and there's no way I'm giving up my chance on seeing the dobe again. I know no one wants to hear this or at least bring it up, but what if it is Naruto and he is our enemy? Shikamaru asked the question that no one wanted to bring up. Then you will have to do what you must. The Hokage answered sadly. Please, sure so. You have to let us go. Sakura, she looked sadly at her student. Could you really bring yourself to kill him if necessary? Sakura didn't even want to think about it. She just wanted her chance to apologize to Naruto. No, but all of us might have a better chance of convincing him to come back. She gave Tsunade a determined look. Very well then. All 14 will leave immediately. Kakashi will be overall in charge and Asuma second. Dismissed. Tsunade and Shizen watched from the tower as the Konoha 11 and their senseis headed towards the main gate. Was it a good idea to let the two of them go after him? You forgot that while those two were the last ones to start searching for him, they were the ones that searched the longest. Besides, I think Sakura needs this more than any of them. Don't forget Hinata. Shizen joked. I just hope that he hears them out. Have you really changed that much, Gaki? Tsunade thought. Alright, Kiba, Akamaru, see if you can pick up Naruto or those things sent. Hi. Kiba and Akamaru followed Kakashi's order and after a few minutes, stopped and faced the rest. We got their scent, so are we going to follow it? For now, but if it's a dead end, I have another place we can search for clues. Let's go. The group jumped into the trees with Akamaru and Kiba leading the way till they stopped in a large clearing surrounded by trees. What's the matter, Kiba? Lost the scent? Niji asked. No, the scent's all over the place, but they seem to be branching off in those two directions. Whom do you guys think? Kakashi turned to the other jounin. I was thinking the same thing. This could be Naruto's staging area. Asuma took out a map and placed it on the ground. These are where the enemy camps are, and this is where we are. It's almost the same distance from here between the two camps. Yes, and this clearing is large enough for him to summon a large number of those things. Guy added, and have his shadow clones lead them. Kakashi concluded. So what now, sensei? Sasuke asked. We head to the first place that would welcome Naruto with open arms. Everyone gave him a confused look till Sakura understood. Wave. You have got to be kidding me. Kiba yelled. YOSH. Naruto-kun's flames of youth truly burns bright. Lee yelled. HN. Sasuke smirked. The rest just stared at the great Naruto bridge. As they crossed the bridge, the others asked Team Kakashi about the events that took place during their mission to Wave and what Naruto did. Oh, you have got to be shitting me. Again, everyone followed Kiba's eyes and saw what he was staring at, and everyone's mouth hung open except Shino, who raised an eyebrow. There in the center of the town square, a few meters after the entrance of the bridge, stood a bronze statue of Naruto in full predator gear and mask, flanked by two of his angels. The group approached the statue and read the plaque. Dedicated to the masked hero who saved our country in our time of need. Look at the date. It was almost 8 months ago. Tenten pointed out. Well, if it isn't the ninja from the Hidden Leaf Village, my how you've grown. The group turned towards the voice and the former Team 7 recognized the bridge builder, Tazuna, but this time he was wearing a stylish kimono and flanked by two other armed men. Tazuna-san, it's so good to see you again. Sakura approached but was blocked by one of the men reaching for his sword. You will address the daimyo with respect, Leaf Nin. Now. Narita, I'm sure she meant no disrespect. Daimyo? Tazuna smiled and scratched his cheek embarrassed. Well, after you and Naruto saved us from Gato, we decided to run the old feudal lord and they voted me to be the new feudal lord. Everyone stared in awe. It's not every day that you'd meet a feudal lord, even if it is of a minor country, or that you saved said lord before. Why don't you spend the night at my home? Tazuna offered. Tazuna and his guards led the Leaf Nin towards a familiar location, but when they got there, they were surprised to find that it was not the same humble building it used to be. It was now an elegant mansion whose exterior seemed to be made out of white marble. Tazuna led them into the hall, and they took their seats at all the available places. Tazuna-sama, what can you tell us about the statue we saw earlier? Guy asked. He was a stranger that just appeared in our hour of need when Lobo, Gato's successor for lack of a better term, decided to try and take over Wave again. Why do you ask? We are searching for that man and we believe it is Naruto. The guards reached for the weapons. What do you want with Naruto-sama? Leaf Nin. Easy, Narita. You have to excuse them. Naruto is a national hero here and no one took what happened to Naruto kindly. Grandpa, I'm home. Everyone turned to see an older Inari walk into the room and look at the guests. I remember you. He pointed at Team Kakashi. Welcome home, Inari. Your mother is still out, and yes, Inari, these are the ninjas that were with Naruto last time and some of their comrades. I was about to tell them the story of our second hero who might actually be Naruto himself. Really? Yes, now sit down and let me tell our guests what happened that day. Flashback no jutsu. Lobo, surrounded by 5 of his personal guards dressed in samurai-styled armor and katanas, led a large group of men were making their way across the bridge and were confronted by the villages led by Tazuna and Inari. Well. It's so nice of you to welcome your new master. One of Lobo's personal guards sliced the crossbow bolt shot by Inari, and Lobo wasn't even fazed. Get lost! The likes of you aren't welcome in Wave, yelled Inari, followed by supporting cheers from the villagers. Humph. You miserable insects will learn your place. I have over 1,000 men. You fools don't stand a chance. We will never give up. This bridge was named in honor of the person who taught us to fight for what we believe in and hold dear. So do your worst. Tazuna challenged. Kill them. Lobo ordered, and his men ran past him towards the gathered villages while his guards remained. A few arrows flew towards the men, striking down a few of them, but not enough to slow down the column of charging men. The villagers braced themselves to clash with the mercenaries. But a bright flash and loud high-pitched screech stopped everything, and before anyone could recover, shouts of pain were heard from the mercenaries. The villagers looked up and noticed that a few of the gangsters had kunais and shurikens stuck in them, but none of them were dead. Naruto appeared decloaked, in all his armored and masked glory. So you're the scumbag that's trying to move into Wave. Who the hell are you? A hunter. And you have a nice bounty on your head I aim to collect, you're right? As if one man can face this army, don't make me laugh. Kill them, I am not alone. Screams of terror were heard from the back of the column, behind Lobo. Those that turned around saw their comrades being pounced on by some drones before killing some, while others disappeared in puffs of smoke. What the hell are those THHH? One of the thugs yelled before he was pulled over the side of the bridge. More drones climbed up the sides of the bridge, pulling men over the sides, charged forward and disappearing in puffs of smoke, or killing them where they stood. Some of the thugs managed to kill and wound some of the drones, only to discover the dangers of their acid blood. Several men decided to charge Naruto, weapons ready. Naruto reached into his cloak and threw a bunch of kunais and shurikens, bringing down some of the men before they were captured by some drones. Naruto extended his wrist blades and charged forward, slashing at their knees, ankle and arm tendons, leaving them bleeding on the ground. He extended his right wrist blades further and with one swing sliced off the head and arm off a man before reversing the blades, and with a backhand sliced another man's head in 3. More men charged the young predator. These men were luckier than most of their comrades as they received a swift death. More were cut down by his shoulder cannon. Soon nothing was left but blood, gore, and a small band of thugs around Lobo and his guards. Lobo, for a lack of a better description, was scared shitless. Now I'm sure we can make a deal. The predator wiped the blood off his blades before retracting them and his shoulder cannon as he walked towards the group. Alright, the one to bring me Lobo's head, lives. The thugs looked at each other before some of them charged Lobo but were cut down by Lobo's guards. The rest decided to take a chance, tried to run away only to be caught by some drones hiding over the sides of the bridge. 2 of the guards ran forward, swords raised, and brought them down but were blocked by Naruto's combi stick. He pushed them off before throwing a small sliver sphere on the ground, which created a cloud of smoke. Kage kunai no jutsu. That was the last thing the 2 guards heard before being caught in a shower of kunais. 4 warriors attacked Lobo. One of the guards grabbed Lobo and jumped out of the way, while one managed to cut off the arms and head of one of the warriors, avoiding the spray of blood, but was caught by another and disappeared. The last guard stabbed one of the warriors in the chest before spinning around and cutting it in half. He jumped out of the way of another warrior's tail, but was caught in a burst of wind from Naruto, cutting all his tendons. Lobo looked on in terror only to hear a sudden intake of breath and a spray of something warm behind him. He turned around and saw the predator had somehow gotten behind and stabbed his last line of protection with his spear. Please. We can talk about this. What do you want? Naruto walked over and picked Lobo's head off the floor and sealed it in a scroll. Who are you? Inari asked as he walked towards the hunter. You've grown strong, Inari. The hunter disappeared in a whirlwind of leaves. Flashback Kai. So we made that statue in honor of the second hero of Wave, but who knew it was Naruto all along? Haha, I have to have that plaque changed and announce it to the whole village. Tazuna proclaimed. He'll be an even bigger hero than before. Naruto Aniki's really gotten strong. Naruto-sama truly is great. And that was almost a year ago. Guy asked. Yes, it was a few weeks after I received word that Konoha had finally punished those responsible for running Naruto out of your village. Sometimes I wish he'd taken up our invitation of staying at Wave. Wait. You got in contact with Naruto? Not directly. When it was obvious that Konoha was not going to do anything about Naruto, messengers were sent out to try and find Naruto. Ads and posters were placed in every village we could. We were about to give up, but 6 months after we started, I found a letter from Naruto. He thanked us for our offer and that he would visit someday. Kakashi sighed. There goes a possible lead. Anyway, why don't all of you keep your stuff in your rooms, then we can meet for dinner in the dining area. Thank you. The group joined Tazuna, Inari and Tsunami in the dining room where they ate and traded stories before the family excused themselves for the night. I've been wondering, why is he so insistent on taking prisoners when he has no qualms about killing people? Shikamaru wondered. That's true. It is not likely for information considering that they were low-ranking members, and it can't be for the bounty since most of the lower ranks will either not have bounties on them, or have very small ones. Shino added. He even chased those 3 back to Konoha. If he just wanted to keep his existence a secret, it would be better to kill the witnesses than capture them. Asuma lit a cigarette. Asuma-sensei, can you not smoke at the dinner table? Ino complained as she grabbed the cigarette and threw it out the window. Kurenai giggled at Asuma's sigh of defeat. I've also been wondering. Choji started. Don't you think he was a little careless with his first group of angels? I mean, he just stood there and let them do all the fighting, though in the end they did take some of us out of the fight. Don't remind me. Ino groaned. I don't ever want to look into one of these things' mind again. The most likely possibility is that he wanted to test us or did not think it was necessary. I doubt Naruto will be so uncaring as to throw away the lives of his summons needlessly. Kakashi offered, but I don't think this is the same Naruto we all knew before. Sasuke offered, taking a sip of his tea. I think we can ask him that when we find him. For now we have to think of other possible locations. What about Snow? Sakura suggested. That's not a bad idea considering that other than Wave and Suna, Snow would welcome Naruto with open arms. But why not Suna? Lee asked. Though Suna has been our ally since the Sound War, they did not care about what happened to Naruto till Gaara took over, so it's most likely that he would have to set up his base elsewhere. Let's talk about his angels for a moment. Kurenai offered. I've never heard of any summons like the ones Naruto used. Have any of you? Everyone shook their heads, having never heard or even read about such summons before. There is someone we can ask. And quickly summoned Pakken. Yo! Everyone greeted Pakken and started to describe the creature that Naruto used, hoping that he might be able to shed some light on them. I've never heard of such creatures before, and mind you, all summoned creatures know about each other. We may not like each other, but we do know about each other. This is troubling. We hardly have any information we can use to gauge Naruto's strengths and weakness except from what little we saw with Kakashi and the story Tazuna-sama told us. Asuma brought up. He seems to have weapons and skills at his disposal that I doubt any of us would expect him to have. He is Konoha's most hyperactive and unpredictable ninja, Kakashi pointed out. Still, his kenjutsu skills sound quite impressive considering the stories I've heard. Admitted Tenten, you just want to get your hands on a couple of his toys. Ino teased the blushing girl. What troubles me the most is his summons. Quick, silent, almost undetectable, acid for blood and tough. What are those things, and if they're the lower ranking summons, what would a higher ranking one be like? The Konoha group gathered outside of Tazuna's home and bid him and his family farewell before heading off towards Snow. Wait! Kiba stopped jumping and started to sniff around along with Akamaru. What is it, Kiba? I thought I smelled one of those things just now. The group turned their attention to a barking Akamaru on the ground. Good work, boy. This is definitely the scent of one of those things. The group quickly followed the duo while Hinata and Niji took turns using their Byakugan to conserve energy. The trail ends here. Kiba dug around the area where the scent ended and found a trapdoor and was about to open it but was stopped by Kakashi. Hold it. It could be booby-trapped. Kakashi made a shadow clone and the group leap away and it opened the door. When they thought that it was safe, they jumped down the trapdoor and turned on their torches and found that they were in a long corridor curved out of the rock and was wide enough for 3 people to walk side by side and just slightly taller than they were. Not the best place to hide and sneak around. Thankfully, as they traveled down the corridor, they ended up in a circular room with several doors and made of metal with grids and glyphs and dark bone-like patterns. Kiba and Akamaru sniffed around a bit before turning to the group. It's no good, the whole place smells of those things. It's like this whole place is made out of them. If that's the case, Hinata, Niji, activate your Byakugan and scout ahead, keep an eye out for those things. Shino, sent some of your bugs up front as well. Kiba, can you at least pick up Naruto's scent? Kiba and Akamaru sniffed around a bit before turning to the group again. I think we got him. This way. They moved towards the center door and felt around before a panel lit up and door opened. The ninja jumped away from the door in case of any danger. When nothing happened, Kiba was about to enter when he was stopped. Hold it. Guy held up his hand. Is it clear? Niji scouted around and Shino sent in a few bugs. Someone's in there. Yeah, I see him. He's sitting on a throne. It looks like he's thinking, or waiting. It's been easy getting in here, too easy. Any sign of those creatures? Kakashi asked. No. It looks clear. The group entered the room and kept their guard up. The room was smaller than the hall they were in earlier, and it looked to be covered in the bone-like patterns, and only the floor was metal compared to the hall, which was a fair mix of both. I've been waiting for you. The hunter spoke, not moving his head, which rested on his hand. We're not here to fight unless we have to. Asuma spoke, stepping forward and showing that he was unarmed. Sending 4 teams. It's either you're weak and hope that numbers will make up for it, or you're here for an all-out fight. Kiba looked ready to shout something, but the predator continued. But seeing who she sent, it's most likely Bachan is hoping that you guys can talk to me without a fight, am I right? Naruto stood and pulled back his hood, revealing his spiky blonde hair with 2 metal bands across the back of his head, which held the mask in place. With a hiss, the bands started to retract and fold to the sides of the mask. Naruto reached up and pulled off the mask, revealing cool hard eyes and a somewhat grim expression. His whisker marks were slightly thicker, and his face had none of the baby fat that it once held. Naruto. Sakura whispered, hardly believing that he was really there. Hey Dobe, team. Naruto smirked slightly. Naruto, is that really you? Kakashi asked. In the flesh. Naruto-kun, we're here to talk and to try and bring you back to Konoha. Kurenai said. Do you see a forehead protector on me? What makes you think I want to go back? True, but I don't see you wearing one with the village symbol slashed out, which is the standard sign of missing Nin ending their loyalty to their village. Just give up and come with us, Naruto. We outnumber you and can take you down before you can summon those things. Kiba yelled. You dare challenge me in my own domain? Naruto snapped his fingers and the walls and ceilings started to move. One thought crossed everyone's minds. Naruto snapped his fingers and the walls and ceilings started to move, and countless numbers of drones made their presence known. Even the passageway the Konoha Nin walked through earlier was completely blocked. One thought crossed everyone's minds. Kiba, you idiot! Ino yelled before she started to look around frantically. I thought the 2 of you said the room was clear. Tenten yelled at Shino and Niji. It was clear. I didn't see any movement or chakra. Neither did I. Shit, we're surrounded. There must be hundreds of them. Choji yelled, immediately regretting it when he noticed that Ino looked like she was going to have a heart attack on the spot. Troublesome. We're dead. They turned their head towards Sakura when they heard her pouch hit the ground, followed by her kunai and shuriken holder on her thigh, then her gloves. She was completely unarmed. She started to walk towards Naruto till a warrior dropped in front of her and stood up to her eye level, extending its tongue. Though she was panicking and frightened out of her mind, Sakura remained calm. If she was going to die today, she was at least going to tell Naruto how sorry she was. I'm sorry, Naruto. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness after everything that's happened, and especially what I put you through. The warrior backed away as Naruto got off his throne and walked towards Sakura, not that she noticed. Naruto extended his right wrist blades and brought them up to her face and lightly ran them down the side of her face. I took for granted that you would always be there for me, and I treated you like crap, and I never realized till you were gone how important you were in my life. It hasn't been the same since you left, and I've regretted every moment of it. She heard him extend his blade longer and rotated them. She prepared herself for death. I'm sorry, Naruto. She felt her tears slide down her face. Sakura felt Naruto take a swing at her, but for some reason she did not feel any pain. She opened her eyes and noticed that her hair had been cut and the ruminants lay on the floor while Naruto had his back to them, a lock of pink hair in his hand. I preferred your hair short. Naruto sat on his throne as the drones backed away and returned to their hiding places except for those that blocked the entrance. You get one more chance. What do you want, Naruto? What happened to you? Kakashi asked. That is a long story, one for a later time, and if it is information you want, it has a price. What are these things? Shikamaru asked. These are my angels of the apocalypse, or more precisely beings from the stars or aliens. Everyone's eye widened at that but kept quiet, hoping that Naruto would continue. This lair was a starship that crashed here hundreds, maybe even 1,000 years ago, and with it my angels. Now answer me this, what are your orders? We were sent to see who you were and what are your intentions? Shikamaru answered, what are your intentions? Quite simple really. After building up my forces and skills, I will make my presence known to the rest of the shinobi nation, probably by destroying one of the other hidden villages, then see the reactions. I'm pretty sure there'll be some villages who'd welcome me as part of their village, even if it's a small nation, they can be built up. And if that doesn't work, I could always take over a village, but I'm pretty sure Wave will accept me at least. That was my turn. Now that you know who I am and my intentions, what are you going to do about it? Naruto, those responsible for what happened to you have been punished. Do you mean the council? Naruto interrupted Asuma, 'cause they are the ones really responsible. Encouraging the village's hatred and fear, protecting would-be assassins as well as ordering their own. What do you mean? Tenten asked. I've had more assassination attempts on my life than all the Kages and all the elemental nations combined. Isn't that right, Inu-san? He looked at Kakashi. Kakashi sighed, wondering how Naruto knew his old ANBU codename. Yes, within the first month of his birth, Naruto Uzumaki had 127 attempts made on his life, most of which were stopped by my ANBU squad. The Konoha 11 and Kurenai stared in shock. Guy and Asuma were on some of the other ANBU squads that watched Naruto from time to time, so they weren't surprised by the statistics. By the time Naruto made Genin, the assassination attempts had stopped, but including the beatings from the mobs, the total number of assassination attempts stood at 1,786. The gasp from the women echoed throughout the room. Those were the ones that are known. It's a good thing that I'm immune to all but the deadliest poisons. Naruto, will you come back to Konoha? Kakashi asked. 1. I am not the same Naruto you used to know. 2. Until the council members who have made my life a living hell and tried to end it pay, I have no interest in dealing, let alone joining Konoha, but this can be a start. Naruto reached into his cloak, pulled out a book and threw it to Kakashi, who caught it. Kakashi's eye widened as he flipped through the book. Naruto, is this? Kakashi, what is it? Guy took the offered book and started to flip through it, and raised his overgrowth eyebrows. A bingo book. Everyone rushed around and took turns flipping through the pages. There were members of Konoha's civilian council in there, some Chunin and Jounin too. Whoa! Even the elders and Danzo are listed. Asuma whistled. He has a large number of roots ANBU as well, even we don't have sure in-depth information on them. As you can see, I doubt Konoha will be so welcoming once copies of those are made available the day after tomorrow. Naruto gave them a somewhat evil smile which unnerved everyone present. Naruto, is this really necessary? Kurenai asked. Yes, it is. You see, everyone in that book has either made, ordered an attempt on my life, made it a living hell, or are just plain corrupt. But Naruto, this is almost equal to a declaration of war. Shikamaru warned. Is this a problem? The smile Naruto gave this time was outright terrifying. The way I see it, if Konoha wins the war it's in, it wouldn't be able to put up much of a fight when I go after those people, and depending on who's left, either I or they will decide Konoha's fate, or I could leave it to its own devices. No one could believe what Naruto was saying. But you wiped out those enemy camps, aren't you on our side? Choji asked. Naruto chuckled a little before getting up and walked towards the side of the room and opened a door. Come with me if you dare. They followed Naruto through a series of short corridors before stopping in front of a gigantic and heavily fortified door which opened with a series of hisses and metal rods, moving out of the way, and entered behind him. They looked up at the nightmare in front of them. She was enormous, standing anywhere from 20 to 30 feet high, anchored to the wall by her egg-birthing sac. She was around 50 to 70 feet long from her arrow-headed tail to the end of her wide-crested head. She was midnight black in color, her exoskeleton a darker shade in hue as that of her children. She had enormous, talon feet that gave her upright walking movement, but lay tucked underneath herself near her egg sac was an enormous, yellow liquid-filled tubular protrusion that housed her species' developing eggs before she laid them and they hatched. She had 2 pairs of arms, 2 of them jutting out from massive shoulders and heavily muscled with multiple clawed digits, while her other arms had only a few fingers, and were much smaller and frail-looking, jutting out from her chest. Her head was sleek and oblong, like that of her children's, but she had an enormous, fan-like crest that jutted out and merged itself along her skull, her curved mouth slightly reminiscent of a smile. Oh my! God. Both Sakura and Ino backed up while Hinata hid behind Shino and Kiba along with Akamaru. The Jounin swallowed the lumps in their throat and watched as Naruto approached the monstrosity before them and stroked the side of the queen's head affectionately. This is the queen. She is the most important part of the hive, as I'm sure you would understand, Shino. Their species have slight psychic abilities, a mind link to one another, and she used this to control and communicate with her brood from any distance, from several feet to the other side of the planet. It is through this mind link that I communicate with them. But Naruto, how do you control them? The queen turned to look at Tenten, who quickly hid behind as stiff as a board Lee. That would be thanks to my tenant. Flashback no jutsu. Naruto spun around in time to see a shadow with a long barbed tail jump towards him. What the he? Naruto jumped out of the way as Runner landed where he stood earlier and rolled out of the way of the tail strike aimed for his leg. He quickly ran through the door that he had just opened but stopped in his tracks when he saw the queen. But remembering the runner that was behind him, he quickly created a dozen shadow clones and charged the runner. Most were dispelled by a single tail strike. Rasengan! He drove the sphere right into the chest of the runner, killing it instantly, but his entire arm was caught in an acid shower. Naruto stood up and noticed the queen slowly raising her head and hissed at Naruto as 3 runners and 4 warriors appeared around Naruto. Oh yeah! I'm not going down without a fight. Believe it! Naruto raised his injured but healing arm and created a dozen shadow clones and charged the drones. Stop! What? Kyubi? Hold it, Kit. Don't attack those things. What? They're the ones attacking. What the hell are they anyway? Surprisingly, none of the drones made a move to attack him or his clones. Those are beings from beyond the stars. Huh, they're not from this planet. Aliens, but once many eons ago they were a plague that caused the death of many worlds. Only we the Biju were witness to the death and destruction caused by these things. They're aliens? Yes, and like I said eons ago, they caused the death of many worlds. Like an intergalactic plague. Destroying world after world. Whoa, do you see their potential, Kit? Actually, you lost me at aliens. You are dumber than a ing fence post. What part of that was so hard to understand? They are aliens. They destroy everything. Ooh. Why didn't you just say so? Naruto could have sworn he heard Kyubi mumbling something that sounded like moron or stupid container. Okay, new question. Why aren't they attacking? Because they can sense me and you. When these things first came to this planet, the Biju were already around. They tried to wipe us out as well, but being demons made that impossible, and they're smart enough to learn from experience. Dispel your clones. Naruto dispelled his clones, and surprisingly the drones backed off and lowered themselves into non-aggressive stances, and even looked like they were bowing to him as he approached the queen. He stared at the queen silently for a moment before a look of understanding and surprise appeared on his face. I can understand her, and they're willing to follow my lead as long as I ensure the survival of the hive. Yes, and I have just the solution. Make this work in everyone's favor. How? We're making a new summoning contract. Flashback Kai. And so with Kyubi's knowledge and the Queen's support we created a summoning contract that allows me to summon them to do my bidding. You spoke to the Kyubi? Asuma could not believe what he was hearing and reached for his cigarette and lighter. The Queen hissed when Asuma lit his lighter, but it was so soft that a normal person would miss it. Ino reached over and grabbed his lighter. Asuma-sensei, is this really the time to be smoking? Though it really wasn't a question. Troublesome. Asuma sighed. You get used to the troublesome furball after a while. He was my main teacher since I left the village. I love you too, Kit. And it's you still have a lot to learn. How do you know you can trust Kyubi? Guy asked. I'm still alive, aren't I? And as for why he attacked Konoha, well, in due time. But Naruto, how did you create a summoning contract, and wouldn't the queen be the boss summon? And if she is, how is she supposed to face off against other boss summons? Sakura asked. I won't bore you with the detail, or tell you everything, but the summoning contract we created isn't the same as, say, the Toad contract I signed. It just allows me to bring any number of my angels as needed to my location. And what they lack in size, they more than make up for in numbers, ferocity and fearlessness. But Naruto, if she's the queen and so important to the hive, why is she unguarded? Karina asked. You thought I was unguarded as well, didn't you? Naruto could hardly keep the smirk off his face when the group started looking around trying to spot the guards. You may meet the guards another time. They really are quite a sight. They followed him out of the room, not being able to totally shake the feeling of the underlining threat in his previous statement, and continued down a short corridor. Naruto, aren't the guards the same as the two kinds we've already seen? Shikamaru asked. Two kinds? Tenten and Sakura asked. Yes, the first batch we fought before Team Kakashi arrived had two types. One kind stood upright and had those tube or spike things on their back, and another lacked the spikes and stayed on all fours like a dog. As perceptive and clever as ever, Shikamaru. Yes, there are two kinds of drones. The upright ones are warriors. They are the foot soldiers of the species. They can even learn some taijutsu, and though physically weaker than the warriors, the runners make up for it with great speed and other abilities. And the Queen's Guards? Shino asked, really interested because of the similarities between the aliens and some insects. The Praetorians? That's a secret. He gave them a foxy grin before continuing. Naruto stopped in front of another door and turned to face the group. This is the birthing chamber. Before we enter, I must warn you, what you will see inside will be very disturbing, and you will see why I said I am not the same Naruto you once knew, and to give you an idea of why I took so many prisoners. But aren't your angels born from those eggs we saw earlier in the Queen's chamber? Not quite. They are the start of the life cycle, but they need hosts. Before they could ask him what he meant, he opened the door and walked in. The screams of pain, horror, and the stench of blood and death should have been the first signs that they should not enter that room, but they had to know what was going on, so they entered. So they enter and were greeted by a scene out of a horror movie. Bodies were held to the walls by what looked like solidified webbing. Some were dead, the holes in their chests being the most obvious sign. Some had spider-like creatures attached to their faces, and many of the same spider-like creatures lay dead on the floor near opened eggs. Some warriors were removing the dead from the walls and throwing them down a large pit, whilst the dead face-huggers and empty eggs into another. One of those that were still alive gasped and looked at the Konoha nin. It was one of the IWA nin that was taken from the village. "PL, please kill me." "Oh." His screams of pain were accompanied by howls of pain from two dogs that were held down by the same webbing. The chestbuster broke through the chest of the IWA nin, its scream announcing its violent birth, as the wolves literally blew apart, as the newborn runners stood up on shaky walks in a sea of blood. Hinata fainted at the sight. No one caught her, as they were too stunned and horrified by the scene before them to move except Kiba and Choji, who ran out of the room, fell on their hands and knees and vomited. Naruto walked up to the dead IWA nin and allowed the newborn chestbuster snake around his arm. Natural-born killers. They live only to serve the hive and survive. Ruthless, fearless, no sense of guilt or remorse. Even their birth is marked by death and blood. They are the perfect weapons. Ino, Tenten and Lee quickly joined Kiba and Choji outside, while Shikamaru kneed down feeling nauseous himself, and Niji picked Hinata up and carried her out accompanied by Kurenai. Naruto approached the group as all the newborns scurried into specially made tunnels which will lead them into many different chambers where they can remain safe till they reach maturity. Naruto walked past the nauseous ninjas as a whimpering Akamaru backed away. "I'm feeling a little hungry. I think it's time for lunch." "You're sick, man." Kiba wheezed out. "I think I lost my appetite," Choji said as he tried to get to his feet. "That was the most awful thing I have ever seen." "What happened to Naruto's youthfulness?" Lee spoke in the softest voice anyone had ever heard from him. "Those things aren't angels, they're monsters." Tenten nodded in agreement with Ino's statement, and reached for a bottle of water. "He's not the same Naruto we all knew last time." Kurenai checked on Hinata before moving to check on the others. "Do we really want him back in Konoha? Better to have him with us than against us." Asuma pulled out his cigarettes and spare lighter. This time no one stopped him from lighting up, even Kurenai, and Guy took one. "I have never seen anything so disturbing before." Guy took a long puff, "But I agree with Asuma. Better to have Naruto on our side than against us. This Naruto may be darker than the one we used to know, but I believe essentially he is still the same Naruto with all new back then," Kakashi stated as he watched the door to birthing chamber close. "I hope you're right, Kakashi-sensei." Sakura watched as Naruto disappeared around a corner, regrading the Dark Horse. Angels of the Apocalypse. If I remember correctly, it was about a group of scientists who discovered a space jockey and trying to learn its history/technology, while another scientist discovered that the Xenos were an intergalactic plague that at one time wiped out all life in the universe, including the dinosaurs, and is infecting volunteers and other people to try and find a way to stop the next wave. I can remember the ending, but in the end the space jockey was impregnated and a Gant Xeno was born that could hold a regular Xeno in its hand and crash it. Oh, and I forgot to address this the last chapter, but there will be NO//yaoi, though both my betas are yaoi fangirls. As for filler girls, we'll have to see, I guess. Got to watch a couple of those. The Konoha nin sat around the large dining table nervously, all not forgetting the horrifying scenes they had witnessed earlier. Unlike the other parts of the lair, the dining room was wonderfully designed with black marble floors and walls. None of the metal glyphs and grids from before, but the four-corner pillars had the same bone-like patterns that were in the throne room, which they suspected were actually the aliens hiding in plain sight. How did Naruto get all this here without anyone knowing where he hid? Ino asked. The same way I do everything else. Naruto walked through some double doors and was quickly followed by a dozen clones dressed like waiters placing food on the table and a large bowl of ramen on table for him. Not quite a Chiraka's, but it will do. Naruto started to wolf down his ramen like everyone remembered and had finished his first bowl when he noticed that no one was eating, even Choji. What? The food not to your liking? No, it's not that. It's not poisoned. Naruto interrupted Kurenai. If I wanted you dead, I would have left you in the birthing chamber. Naruto stated causally as another bowl was placed in front of him. Everyone paled thinking about the birthing chamber. It was the main reason why no one had any appetite, but Choji, being a typical Akimichi, was the first to get his back and tried some of the pork and beef dishes in front of him, before quickly piling the food on his bowl. It's good. Everyone started to try the food and were pleasantly surprised at how good the food was and started to take more as the clones refilled their dishes and drinks. I surprise you have such a room, Naruto. Neji spoke. Well, you can't really entertain guests in my throne room much now, can you? Especially if you want to work with them properly. Naruto answered, finishing his fourth bowl of ramen. Does that mean you'll consider coming back to Konoha with us and rejoining our ranks? Asuma asked hopefully. It's not likely, but I can promise you that at least till the end of your current conflict, I will show no more hostiles towards Konoha, even if a few strays run your way. The Nin sighed in disappointment. Though they are still troubled by what they've seen, they would still prefer Naruto and his forces be on their side rather than against them, though Kiba and Akamaru were a little more apprehensive than the others. Naruto, were all the prisoners were they? Ino did not know how to phrase what she wanted to ask. Yes, those that were taken alive were all used to breed new drones. So for every human you've captured, you're able to create another drone. Shino stated, more or less. Shino and Shikamaru raised an eyebrow. As you saw, it's not just humans that can be hosts, though dogs, wolves, large cats and most other four-legged predator will give rise to runners, while almost everything else will spawn warriors. Those that did the math were shocked at the possible number of drones Naruto had at his disposal, and those were assuming he did not have any more surprises or taken more people without them knowing. Still, the possibility of even a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 of those things was a scenario that none of them wanted to face. Did it have to be dogs? Kiba mumbled to himself. Don't worry, Kiba, I won't use Akamaru. But still, those things are monsters. Kiba yelled. Maybe so by most people's standards, but that is the way they are. They are what they are by nature, not by choice. And since I've taken control, no innocent child or person has played host to them, so I would think very carefully before speaking, especially if you're going to make comparisons between my angels and myself with, say, Orochimaru. Everyone thought about what Naruto said. If it was true about the history of these creatures, the only thing stand between the human race and a potential wave of extinction is Naruto. Naruto-kun really hasn't changed. He's still so strong and protecting everyone. Hinata thought as a blush crept across her face. Sorry, Kiba mumbled. Apology accepted. Naruto smiled. It was a sight that everyone had missed seeing. By the way, Naruto, who prepared all this? Sakura asked, hoping that a change in topic will lighten the mood. I did. Naruto answered matter-of-factly. Really? How? Ino, like the rest, could hardly believe that the ramen addict that they all knew could prepare something that wasn't ramen and make it good. I used shadow clones to learn different skills during my time away from the village, as well as train, so I was able to pick up a variety of skills to make my life more comfortable, and one of them was cooking. The conversation around the table mainly centered around what Naruto had been doing and what he's learned, especially his shinobi skills and from Kyuubi. Though he was fairly elusive and vague with some points. I'll have one of my clones bring you to your rooms afterwards. This shall be your quarters for the duration of your stay. Naruto opened the door to a spacious, well-furnished hall that had 2 doors on either side leading to bedrooms and another on the right which led to an additional bathroom. These rooms are nice. Ino looked around the room. Could use some windows with a view though. I give you my word, no facehugger or any of my angels will enter your rooms unless necessary. The clone promised before dispelling itself. The Konoha nin gathered in the adjoining hall and started to discuss their current situation and what actions they were going to do. What do you think he meant by facehugger? Ino asked. I believe he was referring to those things from the eggs that impregnate the host for those creatures. Shino suggested. Yes, those things are small enough to move through the air vents in our rooms. Guy pointed out. Then what are we going to do? Ino panicked and looked for any vents that could be used as an entrance point. I think we can booby-trap them to alert us if anything comes through, but I trust Naruto. Kakashi suggested. Tenten, Sasuke, you two secure all the vents. Everyone else check the room for any listening devices and anything else that may pose a risk. Everyone did as instructed and after a while felt that they were safe for now and gathered back in the hall. I think we need to convince Naruto to either delay the publishing of his bingo book or stop its spread altogether. What can we do short of trying to steal it? Niji asked. I'm thinking that we might have to offer him something. Kakashi suggested. But what? I'll have to think about it. Anyway, what do we know about these creatures so far? They're aliens that use humans and other mammals for hosts. They are fast, strong, stealthy and nature killers. Their chakra networks can't be seen or detected by the Byakugan. They have an insect-like social structure with the queen as the egg layer and Naruto as their ruler. They have different castes. The drones that come in two forms, a royal guard caste that we have not seen and the queen. I think those things are afraid or at least don't like fire. Everyone turned to Shikamaru. I think some of you noticed the way the queen hissed at Asuma-sensei when he wanted to light up in her chamber. The Jounin nodded. So if we fight those things again we should try to use more fire jutsus? Sasuke suggested. I think that's a good suggestion, but there are only a few of us here that can use fire jutsus well enough. Guy pointed out. I believe the Hokage would prefer a diplomatic solution rather than a confrontation. Everyone kept quiet and gave Shino their full attention. Because of the high probability that the hunter was Naruto, she sent us to talk with him, and even if it was not Naruto, she would most likely want us to gather information considering our skills. And in case of a confrontation, it would be prudent that we retreat since most of us are close to mid-range fighters and those creatures have the advantage in a hand-to-hand situation. Everyone could see the logic in Shino's assessment, but then again Shino is an Aburame. There was something else I noticed in the birthing chamber. Everyone turned their attention to Shikamaru. There were no women in there. So, if those things can be born from humans, why would there only be males in there? Maybe they can't use females. Ino suggested, sounding hopeful. I doubt that. Those creatures remind me a lot of my own insects, and as far as I know hosts for parasitic life forms are not limited by gender. Shino pointed out. But if that's the case, then what does he use them for? Sasuke wondered. I know what I would do if I had all those kunoichis at my disposal. Kiba had a perverted look on his face, and a drop of blood appeared from his nose. Hentai. The kunoichis excluding Hinata showed Kiba what they thought about his idea. I doubt Naruto would do something like that. Kakashi defeated Naruto. True, but what does he do with the women then? Asuma wondered. Naruto leaned on a railing overseeing the training area where about 50 of his clones were training with some warriors in taijutsu and others were doing different chakra control exercises. You know who my father is, don't you, Kakashi-sensei? He spoke without turning around. I haven't been your sensei for a while now, Naruto, and even back then I wasn't a good one, was I? Maybe a little after all. You spent most of your time training Sasuke. I know, and I was wondering if you'd give me another chance to try and make it up to you. And what's the catch? Originally there wasn't one, but the other Jounin want to head back tomorrow and inform the Hokage about your bingo book. I was hoping that you'll hold it off for a week while we train and let some of them head back to Konoha. Fair enough, but they will not be allowed to leave till 3 days after we start training. Naruto held out his hand. Deal. Kakashi shook Naruto's hand. You know, Kakashi-sensei, you didn't answer my question. Kakashi just smiled and held up a Rasengan while Naruto smirked and held up a perfect one-handed Rasengan as well. I'm staying behind to train Naruto, Kakashi declared, much to the surprise of everyone present as he entered the hall. Kakashi, I know you want to make it up to Naruto for your supposed mistakes, but we should be reporting back to the Hokage. Asuma countered. I know, but hear me out. I managed to convince Naruto to at least delay the release date by at least a week. I might be able to extend it in exchange for this training, but you guys can't leave for Konoha for 3 days. Kakashi explained. So if I can get him to trust me some more, it might be easier to get him to come back with us. And before anyone says otherwise, I'm not just doing this for Konoha's sake, it's for mine and Naruto's. But still, should you really stay here, Kakashi? It will buy you some time to get back to the village before the bingo book gets out. If that's the case, then I'm staying as well. Sakura spoke up and gave everyone a determined look. Guess I'm staying too. Can't leave you and Kakashi-sensei alone with the dobe. Guy-sensei, I'd like to stay behind as well. Tenten raised her hand. Ano, so would I. Hinata spoke up. If Hinata-sama is staying, then I will remain as well. Niji's voice left no room for argument. Sigh, I might as well stay behind as well to watch over the girls and back Kakashi up when he's with Naruto. Kakashi and the other jounin nodded. It's settled then. The rest of you will make preparations to leave in 3 days while we stay back and try to either gather more information and/or earn Naruto's trust. Kakashi and Naruto stood in the middle of a large clearing. None of the other Konoha nin were with them. Tell me, Naruto, what do you know about elemental chakra? Enough, I guess. Do you know what your affinity is? My main affinity is wind. Main affinity? So you have more than one. What are they? For me to know and for you to find out. Fair enough. Kakashi held up a Rasengan. The Rasengan created by the 4th Hokage, rank A assassination jutsu, but what most people don't know is that it is also an incomplete jutsu. Naruto looked surprised at the fact that the Rasengan was incomplete. Ero-sennin never mentioned that. Your father wanted to add his elemental affinity to Rasengan, but the Kyuubi attacked before he could do so, so it is up to you to complete your father's work. Naruto nodded. Normally, creating a new technique of such a high level will take years, but since you know the secret of the shadow clones and with your chakra reserves, you should be able to finish it even sooner. Alright, let's get started. Create as many shadow clones as you can without draining yourself too much. You still need enough chakra to create a Rasengan. Yash! Tajukage Bunshin no Jutsu. At least 1,000 Narutos phased into existence. Kakashi looked around. No matter how many times I see this, I'm still amazed at the sheer number of them. Alright. Let's get started, guys. The original ordered and everyone started to form a Rasengan in their hand. Yes, that's right, and there's a sealed door here and here, an event that goes from here to here. Niji pointed out as Asuma added the details to the map they were drawing. Lee and Shino entered the room, followed shortly by Hinata and Ino, and they too added what they've learned. Wow, Kakashi! Guy greeted as said jounin entered the room. How was the training with Naruto-kun? He's made little progress, but that is to be expected. What are you teaching him anyway? He is trying to complete the Rasengan. Complete the Rasengan? Asuma's voice matched the stunned expression of everyone present. Yes, the Rasengan, as powerful as it is now, is actually incomplete. The 4th did not have a chance to add his elemental affinity to it. That is what I'm having Naruto do, but creating a technique of that level can take years. Kurenai pointed out. Yes, but with shadow clones he can cut the time down, and the fact that he already knows some elemental jutsus will make it even faster. But still, how many shadow clones can he make and still create a Rasengan each? Sakura asked. I counted at least 1,000 earlier, so I have little doubt that he will complete it in less time. But still, should you really be helping him gain such a powerful technique? Kurenai asked. It's his right. Some wanted to ask what he meant, but he continued. How have you been while I was gone? We've set about trying to map out as much of this compound as we can. No one moves in anything less than pairs, and so far this is a fairly large compound, bigger than the Hyuga compound at least. Asuma reported. What about guards and restricted areas? He's let us wander around quite freely, though there are a few areas that we can't get access to, and some of the tunnels are either too small or too numerous to map. Niji showed the map that they had made. Should we really be doing this? Sakura voiced out. He is showing us an awful lot of trust by letting us wander around as freely as he does. Should we be taking advantage of that like we are? Sakura's right. I hate to think that we may have to fight Naruto someday. What? Everyone gave Sasuke a look that said, you're kidding, right? Okay, fine. The point is we're trying to get him on our side. Also think about it. Most of this place has the same bone-like designs that were in the throne room. Who's to say that every square foot of this place that has those designs isn't crawling with those things? Everyone paled at the thought, but it would make sense. Their rooms did not have any of those designs, and that would mean that Naruto would most likely know what they were doing, since those things would report back to him. Regardless, I think we need to gather whatever information we can. Hopefully, it's a precaution we'll never need. That night Naruto returned to the clearing and created almost double the number of clones he created earlier. You all know what to do. Yash! Half the clones shunshined away from the clearing while the rest continued what they were doing earlier in the day. We should thank that sensei of yours. If he did not tell us that little tidbit about the Rasengan, we would never have thought about the improvements we're making now. Yes, we should. I'll think of a way later. For now, let's make sure you perfect your new techniques. I'd like you to hand this to the Hokage personally. No one else is allowed to read it before her. Naruto handed Asuma a scroll which he accepted. I promise, Naruto. It's been 3 days since Naruto had started his training with Kakashi, so as agreed the Konoha nin were gathered outside one of the many small tunnels that radiated out from the hive. Well, we're off then. I'd wish you a safe journey, but I think we better take care of unwelcomed company first. Naruto answered their confused looks by firing a couple of plasma bolts at some trees which forced 6 hunter nin to jump out of the trees. How did you know we were there? We covered our scent and suppressed our chakra. The hunter nin who was the leader asked. You can suppress your chakra and mask your scent, but I can still sense you. It doesn't matter. Your heads will fetch fine bounties, so you're from IWA. Asuma drew his knives. Do you really think that the 6 of you can take all of us? We have 5 jounin and 11 chunin here. We'll see. 3 of the hunters threw a hailstorm of kunais and shurikens, while 2 created a dozen mud clones, and the last one summoned 6 tigers. You're not the only one that can summon. Just as Naruto said that, a dozen drones ran out of the entrance. What the hell are those things? One of the hunters asked the leader. Who cares? Get them. The drones and chunin made short work of the clones and summons. One of the hunters singled out Ino and threw 6 kunais at her. Ino dodged the kunais but messed up her landing and fell over. Ow! Ino grabbed her ankle. The hunter nin jumped forward, kunai ready to stab Ino, but was saved by 2 runners tackling him in midair and pinning him to the ground. He tried to get up, but a tongue strike to the shoulder prevented him from getting away. She thanked them more out of reflex than actual gratitude. When she thought about it, Naruto did say they were intelligent, but did they understand her? Niji struck 2 of the clones, destroying one of them, while the other was destroyed by several shurikens to the back from Tenten. While Lee fought another clone to a standstill before it was double-teamed by Lee and Hinata, Naruto extended his combi stick and blocked a dual kunai strike from one of the hunter nin. Who are you? You don't seem to be from Konoha. The hunter nin jumped back to avoid a swipe from his stuff. I left Konoha years ago, so you're a missing nin then. Why don't you join us? He dodged a thrust and threw 3 shurikens. Naruto deflected the shurikens with his stuff. No thanks. Not interested. And fired a plasma bolt from his left gauntlet that caught the nin by surprise, seriously wounding him. 2 more hunter nin fell to the ground while the leader and other survivor jumped back and took stock of the situation. Shit! This is bad. He pointed out the survivor. Damn! Retreat! Don't let them get away! Naruto ordered as a dozen drones chased after the fleeing hunters. Are you okay, Ino? Asuma asked as Sakura checked her injuries. I can heal her, but she should stay off her foot for at least a couple of hours. Looks like you're staying put, Ino. Asuma told her. Great, take them to the chambers. Naruto ordered, which sent a chill down everyone's spine before he turned to Ino. Here, I'll help you. He picked her up bridal style and carried her back as the other left. Thanks. Ino blushed as she wrapped her arms around his neck. Only 2 people noticed the jealous, somewhat defended look that appeared on Hinata's face, but not the slight twitch in Sakura's eye. How about a spar, dope? I guess I can spare a few minutes to whoop your ass. No summoning, and that includes your angels. Fine. No weapons. Sasuke grunted and got on a stance. Naruto took off his cloak, removed his gauntlets and plasma caster before getting into a defensive stance. They stared at each other for a moment before turning to Sakura. Well? Are you going to start the match or what? Huh? What? Oh, okay. Start. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Water style. Dragon missile jutsu. Water broke through some of the pipes hidden in the walls behind Naruto, and the elemental projectiles clashed into each other, most neutralizing each other, but some of the water shots made it through, forcing Sasuke to dodge them and block the hard flying roundhouse kick that Naruto threw through the white cloud that formed from their previous attack, but was thrown back by lightning that suddenly surrounded Sasuke, shocking him. Ah! What the hell? How do you like my Chidori Nagashi? Naruto slowly got to his feet. Not bad. I see you modified your Chidori. You're not the only one that's been training hard, and this is not the only new jutsu in my arsenal. Hey forehead, what's going on? Ino asked, walking next to Sakura with the other Konoha nin. Hey Ino pig. Sasuke and Naruto are having a spar, and it looks like Sasuke's upping the ante. Chidori Sendan, that might be a bad move. Kakashi commented. Wind style. Hurricane. With a hard uppercut swing, Naruto created winds strong enough to blow the senbons back towards the slightly off-balanced Sasuke. Shit! Sasuke had no choice but to activate his Sharingan to dodge the incoming senbons. I see you activated your Sharingan. Guess you're getting serious, aren't you? I say we're pretty evenly matched with one element each that's strong against the other. True. Naruto brought his leg behind him ready to charge forward in a burst of speed. This is getting interesting, Kakashi commented as he revealed his Sharingan. Naruto launched forward as half a dozen shadow clones appeared behind him and rushed past him, each throwing punches and kicks when they got close enough but were blocked and quickly disposed of by Sasuke, who was keeping count. Suddenly Sasuke was completely surrounded by darkness. What the Genjutsu? Since when could he use Genjutsu, and why can't my Sharingan see through it? Sasuke thought as he looked around to find Naruto. If you're wondering. Naruto's disembodied voice sounded like it came from all around Sasuke before ending up behind him. It's not a Genjutsu. Sasuke spun around just in time to see Naruto take a claw-handed swipe at his face. Dark style. Eternal darkness. What the heck is that? Ino asked as a sphere of darkness surrounded the match area. Genjutsu? Since when could Naruto use Genjutsu? No, it's not a Genjutsu. Kurenai was about to explain but was interrupted by a scream of terror, and the sphere disappeared, revealing a panicked Sasuke holding his arms out trying to feeling around. I can't see! I can't see! I'm blind! The other Nin quickly jumped forward to try and calm Sasuke down when Sakura looked into his eyes and gasped. The normal bright though hard eyes of Sasuke were dull, gray and lifeless. Hold on. I'll heal you, don't bother. Kai! The color returned to Sasuke's eyes and he breathed a sigh of relief. What the hell was that? That was one of my moves, Eternal Darkness. It takes away the sight of my intended target for as long as I want, or till I am defended. The explanation sent a chill down the spines of the dojutsu users. The idea that such a technique existed with the sole purpose of blinding a target was not something they were comfortable with. So what happened after I hurled your ass back to the village? Naruto asked as Sasuke watched Naruto's clones training. Well, from what Sakura told me, most of guys reported to the Hokage, including the Sand siblings, and she told them about Kyuubi. That's why you guys didn't look surprised. What did you expect, Dobe? Us to run away cowering as if you were Kyuubi itself? No, we accepted that you were just the container and not the demon itself. Naruto couldn't help but smile as Sasuke continued. I was in hospital for about a week before Jiraiya came and suppressed my curse seal. Then there was my trial. Trial? I would think that the council would give you little more than a slap on the wrist or a don't do that again. What was it, a show trial? Kinda. The ING Civilian Council was ready to do like you said, but at the end of it all, I was placed under house arrest for a month. Even then they were up in arms. Not that I cared. Why would that be, Naruto? When I said you were my best friend back at the Valley of the End, I wasn't lying and I was ready to consider you as my brother, and once my head was clear, I wasn't happy when Sakura told me what the villagers did. Nice to know you cared so much. So you and Sakura together? Naruto asked, casually turning around and leaned his back against the railing. What? She hasn't told you? What have you two been talking about the last 2 days? Hey, I was busy training and only talked to her twice, if you can even call those conversations. Most of the time, she would tell me how sorry she was and watch me work. No. We aren't together. She did try to convince me to try and give it a chance, but I didn't think it was right to give her false hope, though I didn't think her heart was in it as much as it used to be. I had to tell her every last bloody detail of how I honestly tried to kill you, even shoving the Chidori into your chest. Both of them winced at the memory. Thank Kami I dodged at the last second. You and me both, Dobe. Saishi denied it for a while, and when she finally accepted it, Saishi completely broke down and kept saying it was all her fault. Kakashi-sensei had to knock her out, and it took a few sessions with a counselor before she was fit enough to return to active duty, and she became Tsunade-sama's apprentice. I'm glad she got better. Have you stopped loving her like you used to? Naruto got a faraway look on his face as if wondering but didn't answer Sasuke. You know we really miss you, and I have to admit, you've gotten strong. Guess we can't call you the dead last anymore, can we, Dobe? Sasuke joked. Since when do you joke? Anyway, thanks team. I'll catch up with you later. Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. HN, Shadow Clone, clearing outside hive. Hold it, Naruto chanted as sweat poured from his brow as he tried to add elemental manipulation to his Rasengan in his hand before it completely fell apart along with all the other Rasengans his clones held. God damn it! He fell to his knees exhausted, and the clones dispelled. This is freaking impossible. It's like trying to look left and right at the same time. At this rate it'll take years. Easy, kid. This kind of thing takes years to master. Come on, Naruto. This kind of thing takes time. It's like trying to look left and right at the same time. It's impossible, Naruto sighed. Oh really? Kakashi created a shadow clone. Now I can look left. Kakashi looked left and pointed. And right at the same time. The clone looked right and pointed before disappearing and looked at Naruto with a reassuring smile, or as reassuring as he could with a mask on. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise as an idea hit him. So Ka! He yelled as he got to his feet. I got it! Did he really get an idea just from that? Kakashi and Kyuubi thought. Konoha, Hokage's office. The team that headed back to Konoha traveled hard and almost non-stop with little sleep and even less food and lots of soldier pills. They had to make it back as soon as possible to report what they knew and were able to make it in just over 2 days. Currently, Asuma and Guy were informing the Hokage and her assistant what they've learned about Naruto and his intentions so far while the others headed home to rest. That is very disturbing, but are you sure that Kyuubi isn't influencing him? Influencing maybe as much as any sensei can influence their student, but in control and forcing Naruto to do things. No, that's good at least. So do you know what he's planning? Yes, he plans to build his skill and forces before destroying a shinobi village and joining another village. With Kakashi training with him, he might be able to get a grasp of his skill level. What are the chances that he will attack Konoha? Depends. He's promised not to attack us at least till the end of our current conflict with IWA and its allies, and you know Naruto and his promises, but after that, even odds at best. How many of those things does he have? We estimate he has at least 1,000 of them, but we weren't able to visually confirm, but that is a low estimate, all ruthless, fearless, and pretty much expendable. And with each person he captures alive, he can breed another. What do you mean? Asuma and Guy explained everything they knew about the Xenos, from them being aliens, their castes and abilities, and more importantly their life cycle. Tsunade and Shizen paled as they listened to the description of what happened in the birthing chamber, and how casual Naruto acted about it. There's more, Guy informed her. Tsunade groaned and pinched the bridge of her nose. She needed sake. What now? Asuma gave Tsunade the bingo book. It's Naruto's bingo book. Stunned, she quickly grabbed it and started to flip through it. He's got a lot, if not all, of Roots members as well as some Chunin and Jounin, but the biggest shock and problem is the rather large number of council members in there. This could be problematic. She sighed and reached into her special drawer. You mean troublesome. You hang around Shikamaru too much. Hive, throne room. Hello Sakura. Evening Naruto. She returned the greeting as she pulled a chair near him and watched him work. She was slightly taken aback and hurt that he stopped calling her Sakura-chan when they first spoke alone, but was determined to earn back his trust and friendship and get him to add the chan back. What are you doing? Working on a little project. He typed a few more keys and a diagram of a small craft appeared, and with a few more presses of selected keys a taskbar appeared, and Naruto leaned back as the computer processed the data. All this time he did not even look at Sakura. When Sakura and the others first saw the wall off to the side of his throne room open up and his computer console moved into view, they were stunned at how advanced it was. There were very few computers in Konoha, and all used by ANBU and the Medic Corporation, but they were nowhere near as advanced as what Naruto had. Naruto, I'm sorry about what's happened and how I've treated you. And for the 100th time, Sakura, I forgive you. Then why won't you call me Sakura-chan like you used to? She sounded hurt. Do you hate me so much? Naruto stopped working and turned to face her. Sakura, I don't hate you. I admit I was hurt, but I could never hate you. Anyway, I thought you found it annoying when I called you Sakura-chan and ran after you for dates? He gave her a smile. Sakura smiled a little, though she was tearing. Yeah, you were really annoying back then, but she lowered her head. You never gave up. You kept trying harder every time you failed, and you always keep your promises. Naruto noticed that she was crying now as the tears fell on the floor. And you've saved my life more than once, and I never treated you right, or even thanked you once. She was sobbing now, and Naruto nervously wrapped his arms around her and pulled her into a hug. He really hoped he wouldn't get hit for this, but surprisingly Sakura just leaned into his unarmored chest before returning the hug. Hey Naruto, are those date offers still good? Hinata and Tenten wandered down one of the many corridors of the hive, mapping as they went along till they noticed a door. Tenten tried to open it but was stopped by Hinata. We should wait for the others. They're right behind us. I'm sure they'll be along in a minute. It can't hurt to take a look. She opened the door, and the two of them entered. It was a fairly large room, and the walls were metal with grid pattern with some holes on the walls as well as smaller one on the ground level, and even a large pit on the opposite end of the chamber. It looked like the birthing chamber but not used. I have a bad feeling about this. Maybe we should leave. Yeah, I think you're HHH. Tenten was interrupted by a roar from the side and was pinned against the wall and lifted up by her neck along with Hinata. Tenten and Hinata screamed at the monster that held them captive. It was much taller and bulkier than those that they had seen before. In fact, it looked very different. It had lighter skin color and tentacle-like dreadlocks and 4 additional mandibles which were spread wide as it roared at them. Tenten! Hinata! Kakashi yelled from the entrance. My god! Kurenai stared in a mixture of terror and awe at the predalien. Sasuke quickly ran through some seals, fire style, GR, but was interrupted when a hand grabbed and pulled his hand away from his face. I wouldn't do that if I were you, not unless you want to cook the 2 of them as well and fight them. Sasuke wanted to argue but noticed the large number of Zenos on the walls behind Naruto and Sakura and looked back into the chamber, and to his and everyone else's horror, another 2 predaliens walked/crawled out of their hiding places. Put them down, Naruto ordered, which the predalien complied, and the 2 terrified girls ran to the group. Naruto waved the Zenos off and closed the chamber before turning to face the group. Looks like you found the predalien birthing chamber. Come with me. Throne room. Naruto, what was that? Ino asked. My angels weren't the only ones that came from the stars. In fact, by our standards, my angels, though very intelligent, are little more than beasts. They spread by impregnating other species, some of which have been traveling the stars long before man even walked the earth. Naruto typed in a few keys and a hologram of a full-sized predator without its mask appeared in front of them. Man, Sakura, and I thought you had a big forehead. Shut it, pig. They are hunters or predators. They hunt creatures across the universe for sport, honor, and glory. And their greatest prize were the great serpents, or as I call them, angels. To prove their worth, young predators must pass a trial by entering a specially built structure and kill all the serpents. The hologram changed to show a pyramid and an underground labyrinth. If they succeed, they will be marked as a full-fledged hunter. Naruto took off his cloak and armor and pulled aside his chainmail shirt and showed them the same stylized T that was on his helmet, scared on his skin. Of course, I don't have such a complex, but I have killed a few of my angels in a couple of fights before. Similar to the trials the unblooded predators took, but not as complex. Anyway, most if not all of the weapons that you don't recognize are from the predators, like my wrist blades, plasma caster, and cloaking device. But Naruto, how can you read their language? Kurenai asked. QB. He typed a few more keys and the predator hieroglyphs changed to English/Japanese. And it's good that I was able to integrate a language conversion program thanks to QB and a friend of mine. The creature you saw just now was a predalien named for the fact that it has kept an unusually high percentage of its host's DNA, which of course was a predator, thus giving rise to a different caste in the hive, and it has its own unique abilities. Like what? Sakura asked, almost afraid of the answer. Being able to use a woman's womb as host to multiple drones. All the kunoichi's hands unconsciously moved to their stomachs while Kakashi's eye widened at the possibility of Naruto having even more angels at his disposal. This could be very bad for Konoha, Kakashi thought. Did they have any other weapons? Tenten asked as Naruto worn back his armor and cloak, hoping to change the subject of the predalien. Naruto smirked and got up. Follow me. Naruto led them down another corridor before opening a door which led to his armory. At first they did not notice anything unusual other than racks of standard shinobi weapons like shurikens, kunais, exploding tags, katanas, tonfas, and even bows and arrows, but further back there were weapons and devices that the other nin could not identify. Tenten was the first into the armory and picked up a device and was about to push a button when Naruto grabbed it out of her hands. Easy there, Tenten. You're too cute to be rendered into nothing but bones. And placed the plasma mine back on the shelf, missing the blush on her face. Anyway, these weapons are for use by me and maybe one day my clan. Naruto proceeded to retrieve a few weapons, tucking them into his belt and other compartments and attachments before picking up a net gun and leading them back to the training area, where he showed them the use of the combi stick and the predator shurikens, which were like the demon windmill shuriken but had retractable blades and were much deadlier, and finally the net gun, which could be set to capture or kill. Kakashi-sensei, I think it's time to carry on with our training. Kakashi nodded and followed Naruto, while Neji and Sasuke decided to stay and train with each other, and the girls headed back to their room. The girls sat around in one of their rooms while Kurenai decided to take a shower. Let's play truth or dare, Ino suggested. Feeling bored, The other girls agreed and sat around in a circle. Hinata, truth or dare? Ino started. Truth. An evil grin crossed Ino's face. What did you think about Naruto when he first took off his mask? Hinata blushed bright red, looked down and mumbled something. Sorry Hinata, can you speak louder? Ino and the other girls leaned over and Hinata mumbled again. What was that? I said I thought he looked hot and I wanted to do him right there and then. Hinata realized that she just shouted what she thought and blushed even more before fainting. Damn. I didn't think she'd say that much. Come off it, piggy. You know Hinata's had a major crush on Naruto since the academy. Well, till she wakes up, we'll skip her turn so I'm next. Tenten chipped in. Sakura, truth or dare? Truth. Who would you rather have with, Sasuke or Naruto? Sakura was about to say the first thing that came to her mind, which was Sasuke, but stopped and thought for a moment. Oh. What this? Is Forehead giving some serious thought about the new Dark Naruto? Ino teased. Shut up, pig. Sakura couldn't hide the blush that appeared on her face. It's just that I Naruto, okay. I picked Naruto. Ino. Truth or dare? Hoping to take the attention away from her. TSK, dare. An evil grin appeared on Sakura's face. I dare you to strip and get in the shower with Kurenai-sensei. A look of shock crossed Ino's face before she got up and walked towards the bathroom and started to strip and quickly got into the bathroom just as Hinata started to stir. Ooh. What happened? Nothing much, Hinata. Tenten reassured her, but a dark blush appeared on her face as she remembered what happened, and then there was a scream from the bathroom. Sorry, Kurenai-sensei, yelled a slightly wet Ino as she ran out and wrapped a towel around her and rejoined the other girls. There, happy Forehead? Tenten, truth or dare? Truth. Do you want to jump Naruto? What? A light blush appeared on Tenten's face. Oh, come on, Tenten. It's a fairly well-known fact that women of your family are not interested in money, fame, or political power, but show them an interesting weapon and they'll be all over the guy. Ino smirked. Tenten blushed a shade of red that could rival Hinata's, and buried her face in the pillow she was hugging. And Naruto's got a whole armory of weapons that no one on this world has access to except him. Hinata did not like where this was going. I bet you just want to take the trial so that you can be part of his clan, huh? Boo, but nah. Naruto-kun didn't say that if you took the trial you'll be part of his clan. True, but Naruto has lived the last 3 years more or less as one of these hunters, and passing the trial will definitely earn you some bonus points. A thoughtful look appeared on the faces of the other 3 girls. They continued to play for a while more before a slightly red-faced Kurenai came out and after explaining decided to join them, but after a couple of rounds, Tenten, who was quieter throughout the game, got up and left, declining company. Where do you think she's going? Hinata asked. No clue. Ino shrugged. Tenten walked through the halls. She knew she was being watched as long as there were the bone-like patterns on the wall. There were probably drones hiding in plain sight. She entered the throne room and saw Naruto without his armor and looked like he had just got out of the shower and was working on his computer again. Naruto. He turned to face Tenten and gave her his full attention. I want to take the trial. TBC, A/N. For those of you who wanted the Predalien, Pred/Alien Hydrid, I hope you're not disappointed. Right now there will be 4 girls in the harem, and while this is not my first harem FIC, it is my first attempt as I haven't reached the relationship development part for the other FIC. I considered some of the other girls that was suggested and I think I am, Ramen Girl, and any other non-kunoichi are out. Hana and Isarbai are still a toss-up as there is another girl I'm considering ahead of them. Warning, below this is an omake from my beta who recently turned author. Unfortunately, it is YOI nothing heavy and I could stomach it. Do not read if you cannot even stand yaoi. You have been warned, though it is quite funny. The things I do for that girl. Hive, throne room. Hello team. Naruto had just finished his shower and was sitting at the throne with only an orange towel wrapped around his middle, working on his computer. Dobe. Sasuke returned the greeting, stood leaning his shoulder against the doorway and watched him work. He was a little pissed that Naruto defeated him in a spar earlier. Defeated, a word he hated to use. He still had his Uchiha pride. So, what are you doing? Working on a little project. He typed a few more keys and a diagram of a small craft appeared, and with a few more presses of selected keys a taskbar appeared and Naruto leaned back as the computer processed the data, all this time not even looking at Sasuke. Naruto had a lot on his mind. His bingo book, the hive, the Konoha Nins, and most of all Sasuke. As if he's gonna let the bastard know he creeps into his mind every single minute of the day. Naruto closed his eyes, feeling those onyx-colored eyes burn into his skin. "Now are you two?" Naruto heard the shuffling of steps around the room, but still kept his eyes closed. "Looks like you've been working out, huh?" His voice sounded clear. And very near. Too near for Naruto not to hear his own heart beating erratically. No answer was given, just the sound of fingers going over the keyboard. Naruto felt the touch of soft, gentle lips touching his, widened his eyes and glared instantly. "Team! What did you just do?" He gave him a smile. Sasuke looked into those glaring cerulean eyes before continuing, "'Cause you looked like you needed to be addition." He lowered his head to whisper, "And I know you won me." Naruto shivered at the sound of Sasuke's deep, husky voice. He knew Sasuke was right. He had always been. Bringing Sasuke back from the Valley of the End had only served to remind him of his longing for a certain raven-haired bastard. Leaving the village made it worse. He could feel a smirk coming from Sasuke, who snaked his hand along Naruto's chest and continued whispering, "Send your drones from this room. I don't think they need to witness what I am about to do to you. On with the story, Hive. You sure about this? There is no turning back once you get in the pit." Tenten nodded. "I'm sure." Everyone stood in the training area and watched quietly as Naruto pushed a button on his gauntlet, and a podium-like control panel rose from the floor. Keying in a series of codes, the training ring started to split open from the middle, revealing a large rectangular pit about 15 feet in depth. The pit's walls and floor were made from xeno resin and metal, with the walls forming a labyrinth of mazes. There were holes on the walls and floors which were the entrances or exits to tunnels that ran throughout and under the pit. With a nod of his head, 2 warriors and a runner ran into the mini-labyrinth and disappeared into some of the many tunnels. Flashback no jutsu. "Are you insane?" Kurenai screamed and walked up and down the hall, rubbing her temples and grumbling about dangerous and stupid acts. Tenten had just informed everyone that she had just convinced Naruto to allow her to take the hunter's trial. The reactions were mixed. Kurenai was violent, Kakashi dropped his book, Hinata felt faint, Sasuke and Neji were wide-eyed, and Ino and Sakura were acting like goldfish. "Maybe Naruto-kun will take it easy on her." "No. He made it very clear that I could die during the trial. I will have to face 3 drones on my own. No outside help." Everyone fell silent, especially Kurenai, who fell into a chair, her head in her hands. She could not believe Tenten would do something so unnecessary, stupid even. "Tenten, I think you should forget about taking the trial. Fighting 3 of those things face to face is going to be dangerous. Actually, Naruto said the trial will be to kill all 3 drones in a maze-like arena." "What? That's it, you are pulling out of this trial, Kurenai-sensei." Tenten spoke in a calm tone. "I've thought long and hard about this, and I want to do this." "Kakashi! Say something, train." Everyone turned to Kakashi. "We'll have to train her into the ground to prepare her for the trial. The good thing is a weapons specialist is probably as good as a fire user to face those things." Everyone agreed, some more reluctant than others, and spent the next couple of days training Tenten. Kakashi and Sasuke even tried to teach her a fire jutsu or 2, but she was not able to use fire chakra, so they had to train on her speed and reflexes. As the day of the trial drew closer, the tension grew, especially for Kurenai and Tenten. Flashback Kai. Tenten jumped into the pit and looked back as Naruto activated the pit, and 4 giant metal plates started to rise and join to form a pyramid/triangle ceiling over the pit. The ceiling was opaque with different shape/size windows that allowed light through. Naruto pushed a couple more keys and some light lit in the pit. Several holographic screens appeared, most showing Tenten. "Begin." Tenten drew a kunai and slowly made her way through the maze-like corridors of the pit, staying away from the walls, especially when the entrances of the tunnels were visible. What she did not notice was a warrior crawling along the ceiling above her. "Tenten! Above you!" Ino warned. "She can't hear you. From here on out, she's on her own." The warrior dropped from above Tenten, but she rolled out of the way and threw her kunai at it, which it hit away with its tail and charged her. Tenten blocked a swing from the warrior with her arm and punched it in the stomach, ducking a tongue strike at the same time. She jumped back as it ran back into a tunnel. A runner tried a tail strike from one of the tunnels, but she ducked the tail strike to her head and threw a kunai with an exploding tag. But the runner ducked back into the tunnel, avoiding the blast. Tenten thought about following it into the tunnel, but thought better of it. Better to fight in the open where she could see them. They had the advantage in the dark, confined spaces of the tunnels. She rolled out of the tail strike from a warrior hanging on the ceiling and threw 6 kunais at it, forcing it to drop from the ceiling and face her head on. The warrior's claws slashed across Tenten's arm, ripping her sleeve and drawing blood. She threw a couple of shurikens at the warrior, and had to dodge a tail strike from the second warrior from behind. Tenten! Kurenai screamed and looked to Naruto, hoping that he would stop this, but was disheartened to see an indifferent look on his face. But what Kakashi noticed that she did not was that every time Tenten had a close call or got hurt, Naruto's face would twist just a little. Tenten threw a demon windmill shuriken at the first warrior, Kage Shuriken Jutsu. The single shuriken turned into 5, forcing the warrior to run back into the tunnel, but what it failed to notice was that Tenten had thrown a kunai with an explosive tag into the tunnel before it ran in. She turned around and jumped back, avoiding a pounce from the runner just as the explosive tag detonated, sending shrapnel and acid blood towards Tenten's back. Tenten fell to the ground as the runner approached her and picked her up by her throat and opened its mouth, ready to end it. The girls couldn't look. Tenten shoved a kunai up the runner's chin, forcing its mouth shut and to let go of her. She quickly unsealed the katana and beheaded the struggling runner. Tenten looked around, katana at the ready, trying to find the last drone. Suddenly, the warrior broke through the floor, grabbed her and bit her thigh, but just as it let go to try a head bite, Tenten took a swing, cutting off both its arms and the front half of its head. She then slowly pulled herself out of the hole, ignoring the acid that was burning her already injured leg. Naruto dropped the ceiling and the girls quickly ran in to check and heal Tenten, missing the loud sigh of relief that Naruto let out. If you were so worried about her, you shouldn't have let her attempt the trial. Sasuke smirked. Shut it, Sasuke. The girls quickly got to Tenten and pulled her out of the hole and started to treat her wounds. You did it, Tenten. You passed the trial. Ino congratulated her while she healed her back. It was still a stupid thing to do. You could have been killed. Sakura reprimanded as she healed her leg, but all the same, you did great. Thanks, guys. Tenten started to relax as the pain she experienced started to lessen. Congratulations, Tenten. They turned to see Naruto walking towards them, leading the guys. You know what happens now, don't you? Tenten nodded and started to unbutton her top, shocking everyone. Tenten, what are you doing? Sakura stopped her from taking off her top. Getting my mark. She looked towards Naruto, who broke off the finger of one of the dead Zenos before kneeling in front of her. Sakura reluctantly backed away as Tenten took off her top, showing her pink bra. Kurenai, Sakura and Ino glared at the guys, who averted their eyes. Naruto used the claw of the finger, which had some acid on it, to draw the mark of a full-fledged predator just above her left. He placed his fingers on it and channeled chakra into the mark, with glowed red for a moment, healing, leaving just a scar. Good. Now sign your name on this in blood, then place your fingerprints at the bottom of your name. Naruto unsealed the summoning contract and unrolled it, revealing his name to be the only name on the contract. Tenten did as instructed. Naruto nodded in approval before rolling up the scroll and sealing it back into a small storage scroll. He walked over to the only complete Xeno's skull and started to skin and cure the skull as everyone watched fascinated. Naruto picked it up and handed the blenched skull of the slayed runner to Tenten, who got back to her feet, forgetting to button up, and accepted the skull. Your first trophy. Thank you, Naruto. Naruto spoke as he walked away. Rest now, we will start your training tomorrow. Lunch will be ready in an hour. Hive, Konoha room. Tenten walked in and placed her trophy on the table and admired the quality work Naruto did in preserving the skull. She wondered what other trophies she could earn in the future. Maybe Naruto and her could go on an animal safari one day. She was so lost in thought that she did not notice Sakura observing the skull, till she heard Ino say something. You were so cool in there. I'm sure if Guy-sensei or Lee were around, they'd be screaming about your flames of youth and some other junk. Yes, you were very impressive in there. I'm proud to have you as my teammate. What I'm interested in is how do those things hunt? Naruto cleaned out all the organs, but there are no obvious signs of eyes or noses. Everything was quiet for a moment as they thought about what Sakura said. They would have to give the skull to the Hokage to study later if Tenten doesn't mind. Tenten looked good in pink. Kakashi randomly spoke out while Sasuke nodded in agreement. Hentai. Kurenai hit Kakashi and Sakura smacked the back of Sasuke's head. Naruto walked into the queen's chamber, who looked up as if waking from sleep. What do you think of her? He asked, pausing for a moment listening. I'm glad you agree that she is a good addition to the hive, but like I said, whether she stays with us in the end or we return to Konoha remains to be seen. Naruto listened for a moment before smirking and walking out the room as the queen smiled before going back to sleep. Naruto and Tenten stood in the middle of the clearing that he and Kakashi had been using to try and complete the Rasengan. Now it was just him and Tenten since he trusts her enough, and she earned the right to some of his technique, though he was very sure she was more interested in the weapons he'll allow her to use. The hand signs to summon the angels are the same as any other contract, and normally once you sign a summoning contract you can't sign another, but like I said before, the Angels of the Apocalypse is not a true summoning contract in the traditional sense. So can you still summon toads? Yes, I can. I just haven't done so in a long time, and you can still sign another summoning contract. If you do, all you have to do is to call out Angels of the Apocalypse, and you will summon the angels instead of your other summons. The difference, and the difficult part of this, is that you must keep in mind what and how many you want to summon. Blood and chakra are the sacrifice and will activate the scroll. I want you to focus on summoning as many warriors as you can. Tenten nodded, bit her thumb and went through the seal and slammed her hand on the floor. Summoning Jutsu. Angels of the Apocalypse. A cloud of white smoke appeared, and as it cleared it revealed 2 warriors and a runner. Not bad, Tenten. Now try again. This time, channel as much chakra as you can and remember warriors only. Naruto dismissed the drones as Tenten tried again, this time summoning 3 warriors. They carried on for the rest of the day till it was dinner time. The Konoha entered their room and gathered in the hall, all anxious about Tenten's progress. So Tenten, how did your training go with Naruto today? Kakashi asked, since Naruto spent the day training Tenten, and they mapped as much of this place as they could. He spent most of the day catching up on his reading. Well, we spent the day practicing summoning his angels. I can only summon 5 warriors. My chakra reserves aren't large enough to summon more, so I have to work on increasing my chakra reserves. I guess I can work with you on some chakra exercises. I think you girls should join in. You could always use better control and increase your chakra reserves. Kurenai suggested, and the girls nodded. Anyway, can you guys believe how great a cook Naruto is? Man, I could eat his cooking every day. Konoha, Hokage's office. Guy, Asuma, Shikamaru, Shino, Choji, Kiba and Lee were gathered in the Hokage's office waiting for her and her assistant as instructed when said people walked into the room. Tsunade gave a tired sigh as she dropped in her chair. Hard time with the council? Shikamaru asked. Stupid civilians demanding that we crash our enemies, and the elders adding fuel by saying it makes us look weak, and that damn Warhawk wanting to send our ANBU, not his mind you, straight into the heart of IWA for the Tsuchikage's head. Idiots. Tsunade reached over to her special drawer and pulled out a jar of sake and was about to take a drink before it was taken away by her assistant. God damn it. Give me that shizen. Can you at least brief them first before you decide to get yourself stone drunk? Shizen motioned to the Nin present. Fine. The council still does not know that it was Naruto that attacked those camps, and thankfully Naruto has not released his bingo book yet. If not, it will be even more difficult to keep his identity secret. Yes, it seems Kakashi was successful in delaying the bingo book. I want the 2 of you to take your teams and Kurenai's back to Naruto's base and set up a meeting between him and me. In the meantime, I want you to bring the others back. The council is starting to get suspicious about the missing members, though the ninjas are keeping quiet. Hi, Hokage-sama. Now! Give me my sake! Hive, training area. Now that you've got a grasp of summoning, it will be up to you to practice and refine your skills. Hi. So today, I've decided to work on what is your most obvious strength. Naruto created a shadow clone and sent it to the other end of the fighting ring. Go ahead and throw some kunais or shurikens at it. Tenten threw 3 kunai at the shadow clone, which created a wind barrier that blew the kunais away, reminding Tenten of her defeat at the hands of Temari at the Chunin preliminaries a couple of years ago. Now watch this. Naruto removed a disc from a holder on his thigh and threw it at his clone. Halfway towards its target, it was surrounded by a powerful electric charge. The clone created a more powerful wind barrier than before, but the disc corrected itself and flew through the barrier, cutting the clone in half before it dispelled, as well as grazing a pillar before it flew back to Naruto, who caught it. This is a chakra or smart disc. It is an extremely sharp circular weapon that is thrown like a discus and returns to the user like a boomerang. This weapon is extremely powerful and can easily cut through flesh and bone. It can also be used as a slashing melee weapon. Tenten looked at the weapon in awe. It is yours as soon as you can master this. Naruto held up a similar-looking weapon, but the edges looked blunt. This is a training disc. I lost a lot of shadow clones practicing with the real thing, and I'd prefer for you to remain in one piece. Though Tenten was a little disappointed, she gave Naruto a smile. After all, he was only looking out for her. She took the training disc and threw her arms around his neck, hugging him. Arigato, Naruto-kun. They stared into each other's eyes for a moment before they started to draw closer together. Tenten closed her eyes as their lips met in a soft but lingering. Unbeknownst to the two at the time, Sakura had walked in on the two of them and hid back into the corridor. She couldn't help but feel hurt and jealous, but most of all, regret. It's been 3 days since Sakura saw Naruto and Tenten, and she wasn't feeling any better. She was angry, hurt, jealous, and downright confused. She hadn't tried to speak to Naruto alone the last 2 days, and she was pretty sure Tenten was with him in the evenings after training with Kakashi, since she was hardly in their room after dinners. She had no idea what he felt for her. Did he still have feelings for her? Heck, did she even feel that way about him after everything that's happened? Yesterday was when she reached her boiling point. Tenten had returned from her training session with Naruto, and she was glowing, and as if that wasn't enough, she was humming, and there was just that extra spring in her step. Ino had just brushed it off as just Tenten being really happy to get some new toys, but she knew better. So here she was now, in the middle of the forest clearing. A clearing she made herself after taking some of her frustrations out on the trees, but it wasn't enough. She was breathing hard, but it didn't help her much. You know, there are probably easier ways of clearing a forest. Ways that are not likely to draw attention to the hive. Naruto dropped down a few feet behind her, and removed his mask and attached it to his hip. She really did not want to see him right now, at least not till she got her head straight. Not easy when you have a damn inner voice shouting perverted nonsense about her and Naruto every other hour. Why don't you tell me what's wrong? You haven't come back to try and talk for a couple of days now. It's nothing, can you just drop it? You know you're acting like you're hiding something and avoiding me. Did I do something? Sakura couldn't look at him. She wasn't sure which would have been worst, him looking at her in concern like he used to, or with the near emotionless look on his face he has on most of the time since they found him. Sigh, it's nothing, Naruto, and it's not your fault. Not entirely, she thought to herself as she turned to walk away. You seem pretty worked up about something. How about I help you relieve some of that stress? How about a spar? Not interested. She continued to walk away. If you beat me or at least impress me, I'll start calling you Sakura-chan again if you like. Sakura stopped in mid-stride. She did not have to turn around. She could almost feel that damn foxy grin of his, and without turning around, started to put on her gloves and cracked her knuckles. This was too good of an opportunity to pass up, a 2-for-1 deal. She could vent her frustrations, and she might be able to get him to be more open towards her. Naruto did not like the smirk she had on her face as he kept his guard up. He picked up a small pebble. We'll start when this hits the ground. Naruto threw the paddle straight up and got into a defensive stance. Just as the pebble hit the ground, Sakura punched the ground, causing it to crack and break, sending a shockwave towards Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened at the destruction before him. What insane strength. How do you like that, Naruto-kun? She smirked as she ran towards him. She gathers chakra in her fists and releases it at the precise moment of impact. It takes perfect chakra control. Shit. Then I'd better not get hit or I'm dead. Naruto thought as he dodged a couple of punches and tried to sweep kick Sakura, but she jumped out of the way and threw 3 kunais at him. Naruto jumped up and created 5 shadow clones and sent them to fight her. Fighting her in a straight taijutsu match is suicide with her super strength, and she knows it. Naruto thought as she dispelled his clones, and he got the information from them. Naruto avoided a couple more of her punches and tried to hit her with a roundhouse kick, which she blocked, and tried to connect with a roundhouse of her own. Naruto ducked and tried to connect with an uppercut. Sakura jumped back, avoiding the uppercut, landed on a tree and jumped off the tree as a black tentacle left a large gash on the spot where she was. Naruto figured that he most likely lost to Sakura's strength punch for punch, and he was not good enough of a grappler to take her on in that. That just left speed, which he hoped he could match her, and stamina, which he was pretty sure he could beat her in. Naruto created 7 shadow clones, and together they surrounded her and started to attack from all sides, forcing Sakura to go on the defensive, hoping to try and wear her down. Because of the multiple attacks and avoidance of her attacks, Sakura was forced to block also all the hits, which were starting to hurt. Kid, you either have to get serious or creative if you want to win this fight. I think I have an idea that I want to try. Naruto dispelled the clones and dropped in front of Sakura, who threw a punch right at Naruto's chest, sending the both of them sliding forward/back several feet. Not bad, Sakura-kun. Sakura looked surprised. Naruto had caught her punch with both hands. Oh, how did you do that? I gathered chakra in my palms and released at the same time you hit, he answered as he walked away. She stood there stunned for a few moments but brightened up when she realized he called her Sakura-chan. Impressive, Kit. Your chakra control has definitely improved. Yes, but it's still nowhere near Sakura's level. That really hurt. Naruto went to get some ice for his sore hands while trying to ignore Kyuubi's laughter. Stupid fox. The team of Konoha Nin arrived at the entrance to the tunnel they had exited the hive almost 3 weeks ago. Asuma was about to try and find the trapdoor but stopped when he heard a hiss and looked up to see a runner in front of the group. Easy. Asuma backed up with his hands up. We're just here to see Naruto. Not to fight or anything. The runner watched them for a moment before swinging its head to the side and ran off in that direction before stopping and looked back at them. I think it wants us to follow it, Kiba suggested. They nodded and followed the runner to a clearing where they saw the other Konoha Nin standing there. Yo, Kakashi! Guy yelled, grabbing the attention of all the Nin. Guy-sensei! Lee! Tenten greeted. Asuma-sensei! Shikamaru! Choji! You're back. What's going on here? Asuma asked, noticing several targets set at the center of the clearing and Naruto standing between them and the targets. I believe Naruto's finished his technique, Kakashi answered. Naruto started to draw on the fox's chakra, causing his pupils to turn into slits. As he started to form a Rasengan, a shadow clone appeared and started to apply nature manipulation. What is that? Ino stared at the glowing sphere in Naruto's hand. That's some screech, and the chakra is incredible. Wow, wind style, Rasen Shuriken. Naruto threw the disc at the targets. Just as it reached the targets, it expanded, cutting them in half before exploding, sending a shockwave towards them. Amazing. The number of hits was extraordinary. Even with the Sharingan I couldn't count them. This is going to be troublesome, I just know it. Naruto smiled at the power of his wind elemental Rasengan, before his face looked like he just realized something and started to laugh. It was a dark, almost evil laugh that sent chills down everyone's spine. It's time. What do you mean, Naruto? Sakura asked. I'm heading to IWA, TBC, A/N. I know in episode 105 or 106, I think, Tenten unsealed a fireball from a scroll, but this chapter was finished before that episode is out, and I did not want to rewrite the fight scene since it was baited. Before anyone makes noise about the power of the Xeno's blood, I would like to point out that in Aliens, the second Alien movie, a couple of the Marines were sprayed in blood and they survived and did not lose any limbs. As for Naruto's abilities, I am leaning towards giving me all elemental affinities as well as being able to combine them to form the other elements like ice and wood, but I will try to avoid making him too imble. Cause I have a few elemental versions of the Rasengan in mind other than the Wind and Fire Rasengan game versions which are canon. Thanks for watching this video. You really enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow 666 Black Panther for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.